Good evening, everyone. I know what you're thinking. What is good at the comic shop this week? I haven't gone. I'm looking for some expert advice. Well, whether you're watching us live or on the rerun, I think you got the answer in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for Comic Book Spectrum as soon as I hit the right button.
Seconds.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
How dare you!
Well, we dare a lot of things around here. Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum. And you want some reviews? You want some conversation on comics? You came to the right place. We do this every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Please tell all your friends about us because it gets lonely around here sometime. But anyway, we've got part of the crew with us, and we are going to be getting to your comments and everything real soon. But first of all, I want to say that we are sponsored by Rising Tide Publications and Plasma Fire Graphics when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And now we're going to bring them in. The two, the only. Here they are, Mr. Joe D. McFee and Eric S. Hawkins, the Pro Slayer. Guys, how you doing tonight?
Surviving.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, that's about all any of us can do, Joe, anymore. So and we got the comments filling up the screen. They are flowing over, I'm glad to say. So, folks, as always, if you like any part of this show or plan to in the future, please give this a like or a thumbs up on YouTube, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can see all the cool stuff we got coming down the way. So let's start with Joe. And Joe, introduce yourself as you get a mouthful of food. So anyway, there we go. The camera's on you. Don't spit on the camera, though.
No, I'm not
bad
going to put on the camera.
It's bad.
I am Joe D. McFee, president of the Secrets Studios, creator of Amazonia, Primetime Saturday Night, and AWF. I am the sole purveyor of the little bitty podcast known as From the Desk of Small Press Publishing, which you can see right here on the Rising Tide Network Saturdays at 9 p.m. And every so often I'm here, doing comic book reviews on Comic Book Spectrum.
Most excellent. Thank you, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And now here he is, the one, the only. I've said that before. I'll probably say it again until I think of something better. Eric S. Hawkins. Eric, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. You all know me. I do the Zone for World of Oz and soon Zombie Full Adventures. I draw and I write and I do stuff like that. Last week I was sick of drawing trains. This week I'm sick of drawing horses.
I thought you weren't going to draw any horses.
I have to draw the horses. They have to ride out to the train.
Oh, those are okay. I kept thinking about that show you do every Thursday night following this one.
You mean skeleton horses?
Skeleton horses, yes.
Yes, and every Thursday night I'm also on a drawing show, and this week we are doing Mighty Mascots by Alterna.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they have a crowdfunding right now, and from what I gathered, it's like a satire of mascots. Like there's one that looks like Captain Crunch, kind of, but meaner. So those kind of mascots, and they like wrestle or something, I think.
Oh, nice.
So it should be interesting. See how that goes tonight.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Eric. And I'm Brian K. Morris. Check me out at risingtide.pub. I'm a publisher, freelance writer, award-winning author, and Facebook famous YouTuber, and former mortician's assistant. I do editing. I do writing for other people. Lots of writing for other people. Holy cow, how much can he do? And occasionally when I have time, I write for myself. All of this is available on Amazon. Please check it out. You will be incredibly entertained. I virtually guarantee it. So anyway, we're the crew tonight. And Clyde has got another engagement. And Brian, we love you wherever you are. Hope you're watching.
Who?
And
I'm taking him off the image.
I think, I thought at one point, Eric, you ought to be glad I didn't suggest it till now, that you have like all the variants of how the original 5 of us, so that I can just put up the one of the people that I know are going to be there. So like there would be tonight just the 3 of us, and then we'd have one that was just, would have Clyde in it. Then
Well,
you figure up the
I was just going to
permutations.
put Brian on a milk carton. One night I started doing that. I was like, man, it's going to be too much work. I'll do that later.
Yeah, that's right.
You raise them out and just have like BKO hold up a milk cart. Like, have you seen this person?
Yeah, there we go. I think that'd be great. Brian, don't be watching then. We want to see the surprise on your face. Actually, more like the righteous indignation. More
Well, yeah,
likely.
I wanted to make a puppet of him at one time, but that was going to be expensive.
All we need to do is just.
Worth the joke.
Well, the thing is, we can make like a hand puppet. The puppet part, the hands and all would be fairly easy to sew. Even I could do that because it's like a glove.
I want to be a good-looking puppet, like a Muppet.
Yeah, there we go.
With a beard and everything.
Ooh, that would be great.
Yeah, too expensive. I ain't doing.
Well, yeah. Well, it takes a lot of time and talent, 2 things I don't have. So anyway,
I'm just thinking about how you're going to mimic the Batman.
There you go. Here you go. So anyway, we've got comments from our crew here on our audience. Clyde and Eric, take a look. It's Carl Wisman. Have a great time, Clyde. All right, Clyde. Glad you evidently made it. It's not showing up on my screen. Clyde cannot be here tonight. It's a celebrational matter. And it's almost time since Donna, Carly, mwah. And Carl and Donna, it was great seeing you at the mall last weekend for SilCon. That was a lot of fun. And Calvin is sleeping with Carl. Let the rumors start flying. That's his cat. And Mr. Rainbow 228, hello. Good to have you here. Everyone's saying hello. And Lissy, mwah, as always, a pleasure to have you here. And everyone's saying hello. And Cindy Cap, CKOEPP, good morning to everyone in the Philippines. You talk about inclusive. That's our own Cindy Cap. Go to CKOEPP.com. Also, please check out our Patreon. And Cindy, please put in a link to the Kickstarter campaign you've got for that great game of yours that I think may be in its final hours right now. Let's see if we can.
I believe so. I'm about to say the last time we checked, it was 20 hours as of yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's about what was left when I shared it out yesterday. I'll take a look.
Yeah, and Eric, if you can find the link, please put it in our private comments, and I'll put it on the screen for everyone. Assuming the campaign's still going. And Joe sounded softer than usual.
Hours.
22 hours?
26.
26 hours. Okay, great. We can still get some maybe get a couple more pledges for her. But anyway, Joe sounded softer than usual there. Joe, you using a different mic?
No, it's called Sinuses and Allergies.
Yes, be sure to ask for it next time you go into Radio Shack, kids, to help moderate your sound. So
exactly.
Anyway, and we have got
modulation.
That's the nice word for it. Nasal modulation. That's it. And we have got the one, the only Mr. Frog G. Frog, it is so good to see you here. Glad to have you here. And you talk about plugs. Get out your power strip because this man's got them. For instance, the Rising Tide lifts all moods, and there it is at therisingtide.pub. Please check it out. And from Odessa Small Press Publisher. Thank you, Frog. And Lissy wants to see Brian Rodman on a milk carton. There's probably a number of people that want to see Brian Rodman on a milk carton, but not with the same benevolent goals as the rest of us. And what more, Joe D, than go to Linktree, that Linktree address there, and check out Silverbolt. And I have made Amigurumi People. She's a regular Dr. Frankenstein here. She's just waiting for the next thunderstorm to come through. Anyway, Cindy does very good amigurumi, and she's very talented. And Jennifer Hawkins, hello to you. Mwah, glad to see you here. And of course we want more Joe. And hi, Mom, says Lizzie. And check out Cindy's game, Stellari, a quick game from the stars at that short address there. Thank you very much. Frog, you are so awesome. Everyone's saying hi. And we're down to about 24 hours. Check out that link. And only $215 to go. If you're watching live, please, while the reviews are going on, check out the link, because that is a fun-looking game. It's for 2 or more people, and Cindy has a video that she put up, I think it was last week, that shows 2 people playing it, and it's a very fast-paced game. I'm one of the people who pledged for it, and I'm hoping you'll join me on this. And Jennifer Hawkins goes, Radio Shack? Yeah, there are still some around, I think. There's nowhere near me, I think. And I think the website's still up. So
the website, they still do a lot of stuff via web.
Yeah.
But there's a handful of stores still around.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a lot of the restaurants, what was it? Ryan's and places like that, and Ponderosa and stuff. There's just like a 1 or half a dozen of them somewhere in the country. So
I never liked Ryan's. I liked Duff's.
I've never been there. I wasn't a big fan of Ryan's. Yeah.
You stood in a little stall, and the food came around on a giant lazy Susan.
Ooh,
you just got your buffet food and you went back.
Okay,
come back.
Guys, give me one moment here.
Say what? Oh, okay. Sounds
give me
good,
one
Joe.
moment. Give me one moment.
Okay, no problem, Joe. Thank you. That sounds like a place I'm going to be going to when I go to HalloCon next month in Dalton, Georgia. Please come see us. And check out risingtide.pub and sign up for my free insider information mailing. And 2 days until launch for Frog G, Voodoo Gods, and Magic. Please check that out. And if you can, go there beforehand and just click on the that you want to be notified button. All right? Because that helps Frog get more notice when the thing goes live. All right? And let's help our own here. That's what Rising Tide's about. And I forgot to say hello to Hex Allen Comics. I apologize for that. Hello, hello to you, Hex Allen. Good to see you. And Nephilim Squadron Volume 1. Ooh, I like the title there. That's on Indiegogo. Check that out. And Carl said, I gave a little to Cindy's game to make up for the Welcher. Yeah. Well, that's the one part about the crowdfunding platform, is that you get some people, and some people will make moderate pledges, and then they drop out because life, usually. But Eric will vouch that there are some people that just seem to get their, their little stiffy going when.
I had a worse one than we had.
Really?
I had someone that used a stolen credit card.
Oh, jeez.
And of course it was a $250 pledge.
Ooh, of course
and
it was.
That was after I received the funds.
Oh man, did you have to give it back?
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, that's something that about a month.
They sent me the dispute before I even got the funds. I was like, you haven't even sent me any funds. What do you mean? Can I provide tracking?
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys didn't even send it, so I mean, do whatever you gotta do. And they still
man.
sent me the money. Then a month later, they said, "Hey, give us that money." I just took it.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, really? Well, Daphne Lage on her Ragin' 2 program one Friday had an excellent show about things like that. That, people pledge, and of course, you get enough pledges, you can do stretch goals and things like that. Then once you commit to those, if somebody drops out at the last minute, or in this case, uses a fraudulent credit card.
They even filled out the survey.
No kidding.
And it was in my backer report.
Wow.
But when I ran my updated backer report, that was dropped out of there.
Oh.
But if I would have gone with one of my earlier ones, I always keep updating. It would. I would have shipped them the books.
Yeah. Holy cats. Wow. And, that's where I think that Kickstarter, I think Daphne Lage made this argument too. They should not be penalizing you. I think it's up to them to go get them.
If it was disputed, they shouldn't have even sent those funds in the first place. They should have froze that amount.
Yeah.
Set it aside.
Right.
And then, then if it went through, send it through. But yeah.
Sure, yeah.
And I had a dispute in one of my first campaign too, but it's sometimes that happens when someone loses their credit card in between pledging and that. So I mean that happens. I knew the person that happened to. I knew why it happened.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow, but that's a heartbreaker, and it's especially when you're doing like your first or second campaign. That's a heartbreaker. You know what I went through when we did Spencer Spook. I was just this side of despondent. I really was. It's like
we had funded, right?
No,
Or
we had
almost.
gotten up to like about 74%, if I remember.
And
then with this, and then we're standing here with not even enough to buy the egg for our faces. So yeah, so welcome to the wonderful world of comics. Ask us any question about why you should get in. It'll be a short show. Anyway, Cindy goes, conflict, check me out there. Thank you, Cindy. We love you. Ponderosa. Ugh. I think she's enjoying the Temptations. I'm sure she didn't mean anything negative by that.
Yeah,
And-
she might have used to work there in high school.
Oh, did she? Well, then I take back what I said. You're entitled to that opinion.
I still love those chicken wings from Ponderosa before they closed down.
Oh, man. I think there's one in, oh, God. Vandalia. I think there's still one in
might be
Vandalia.
closed. I think the last one finally closed maybe 6 months ago or so. I saw.
Oh, did they? Okay. Well, that's a shame because, man, they knew how to cook steak in that place. It was fantastic.
Well, I was never in one. Knew how to cook steak.
Well, being the carnivore that I am and frequently in need of food on the drive home, so. And Hex Allen saying hello to. Yes, what?
What place were you talking about?
Ponderosa.
Oh, one of my childhood steak was Ponderosa and Bonanza.
Yeah, there used to be one in Vandalia, which, by the way, kids, Vandalia was the original capital city of Illinois. You're welcome. And, they were terrific at cooking steak. In fact, the only place I found that's halfway as good is the Golden Corral near me, here in Lafayette. They make love to those steaks. They really do.
I need to take you to a place that makes steaks. Because you are naming the worst possible places to make steaks.
Which is why it's so amazing that they are as good. Yeah, I wouldn't, trade them for like
a porterhouse steak from a Ponderosa or a Bonanza, but for like a nice little 8-ounce steak or a 10-ounce steak, it's not that. It's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, they do a good job.
Like a real steakhouse for a real like T-bone steak and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've been to a few. I'm spoiled by them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we need to go to those Dallas, like the ones down in Texas, where you get like half a cow.
Like they wouldn't like me because, again, I'm one of those well-done type people.
They wouldn't
that's
even
one reason
you
why
and
I
my
don't
wife.
prime rib all that much, because everybody does not know how to make fried rib the right way for somebody that wants well done.
Yeah.
I'm not about caramelized all the way down to the center, but it has to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I don't like it moving back at.
Oh, I do.
Same here.
I
like a little blood
heartbeat.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to cut into it. And the next thing you know, it's still bleeding at me. And it's like,
That's why they give you dinner rolls.
To sop it up. Oh.
Sop it up, baby.
That pink biscuit.
Yeah.
I mean, I tolerate medium rare from time to time, but no.
I generally...
Some people eat rare. I was like, no, put that back in. Mm-mm.
Yeah. When I've had a couple of rare steaks that didn't have the texture to it. It tasted
rare
like
can be hard to chew sometimes.
It is.
So
it really is.
I go with medium rare all the time, but
so do I.
Yeah, rare, I just can't. So if it's not cooked just right, you can't.
Yeah.
If it's a bad cut, you're not going to chew it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And chew. Well, follow us for more restaurant hacks. Everyone saying hello. And Amazons are taking over the Small Press Publisher desk every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And hello, Teresa Dunn. Mwah. Teresa, glad you're here. Hope you are having a good evening. And Zombies from Oz, check them out on Comixology. And now is number 4... Yes, and also Amazonia, too. Is number 4
the last
on...
episode, because we talked about Oz in the last episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Check out last Saturday's show.
I even sold 4 comics on Joe's show.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how good I am.
Well, Eric, if it's any consolation, I'm almost out of graphic novels. I expect
or softbacks.
One hardback, 2 softcover.
Wow.
Because I'm a good salesman.
That's
Yes,
pretty
you are.
good.
You're better than I am. You're actually better than I am.
Yeah, I think I only sold at the last show I only sold 1 or 2 of issue number 4, but I've pretty much blown through the trades. So, but if you want more, go to the Stone's Door Studio page on Facebook and query Mr. Eric down there. And Rising Tide Publications, sign for a newsletter. Definitely go to risingtide.pub for that. And don't forget to tip your host. Thank you very much. And if you want to give us a one-time donation, or if you want to do it over and over again, go to, oh, sorry, wrong one. No, go to, do I still have that? Let's see. I'm sure I do. There we go. If you enjoy what you see in here, there we go. There is the thing. Actually, I should do the other one. So, let's see, let me get down to that. I need to reorganize this. And the images shown and magazines discussed belong to the respective copyright and trademark owners and are used for educational purposes. God knows we're not making any money off of this. So anyway, back to your comments. And let's see here. Where did we leave off? Hex Allen. Everyone's saying hello. Hiya, Carl from Teresa. And buffets in general, says Jennifer Hawkins. That can be kind of like the culinary version of Russian roulette in some cases. But the thing is, I've worked in restaurants, and I know certain signs that if I'm not seeing it up front, I know I'm not going to see it in back. Like if you see food mishandled up front, you know they're not taking any care of where you can't see it. So,
well, it's not so much the people in the back you got to worry about. It's disgusting people that go to the buffets too. Yeah, I love a buffet. But Golden Corral being overpriced if there's any still open. I think some of them did reopen. The smell of the clientele will drive you away. Hello.
I tend to sit away from most people, so being as antisocial as I am.
You're like, what?
It's not Golden Corral that I worry about most of the time. It's Old Country Buffet.
I don't think we have any of those left down here.
We don't in our area either.
There's not any more left.
I think there's only just the one near the home office. I think there's 1 or 2. But yeah, that's another dead chain.
Now, if you want to feel better about your life, no matter what kind of situation you are in, go find you a CC's Pizza.
Oh, good luck with that.
Just look at the rest of the people coming in. It's like, I feel good.
Yeah, I'd go into those places and everybody's calling me skinny. So yeah. Although I did like their pizza. So
I like their cinnamon rolls.
Pizza for the price.
Yeah, it's a great price. Yeah. So anyway, Carl says, I don't want anyone to make love to my steak. Ugh. Well, that's when you got to get there too early. And you beat me to it, Carl says, Hex Allen Comics. And Dad's a steak snob. I say that 3 times fast. Dad's a steak snob. And I'm sorry, she says, enthusiast.
It's true. My job has allowed me to go places where I wouldn't buy a steak on my own. They would take me places, and we meet with vendors and stuff, and they'd take us to very nice steakhouses.
Sure,
and,
sure.
I mean, there was one, I thought the cream corn was delicious. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I've never had cream corn taste like this. It doesn't taste like this on my Del Monte can or my Great Value can. Well, if you're going to plop a $100 steak in front of me, damn, that's good. I'll take it for free all day long if you're going to give it.
Oh, yeah. We got to get a job where Eric works. But it's like I had... When I was growing up, one of my mother's friends was a teacher who said that he used to work in the canning factory up in Rossville, Illinois, that did Joan of Arc cream corn. And he said one summer of working there put him off cream corn for the rest of his life, and you can imagine why.
I didn't eat chicken for a few years after I had, 2 instances happened. We went into a chicken house. If you ever seen, those 200-yard long chicken houses, you walk into it, the smell of ammonia is going to knock you out, and you see all the chickens. Then I saw my grandmother ring one. I was like, "Ugh!" Yeah, yeah, that's
That's what my grandparents had to do when they lived down in the country. No, and I was actually off of donuts for 10 years. Right after college, I got a job with a local bakery, and they the recipes we used, we couldn't mix the cake donuts with the big standalone mixer, and this is a mixer that's as tall as I am, okay, and weighs more than like several automobiles, and so I had to stick my arm in it, and to give you an idea, see all that fur on there?
Yeah.
It dawned on me one time that's going into the donuts.
Ew.
And that was my reaction too, Eric. Is I couldn't eat any donuts for 10 years. Since then, I've made up for lost time. Because I don't see it being made.
I'm
sorry?
So people was eating a part of you.
Yeah.
So I'm a personification of that. You got a little bit of BKM in you.
That's right, kid. Vermilion County, Illinois. Oh, the mutation rate is up there. Anyway,
I'm not biting that one. I'm letting that one go.
That's what she said. And Lissy says, of course, I'm just as picky. Don't know where that came from. Must be your wonderful mother, then. Because it couldn't be Eric. Anyway, and let me get this, because we want to get this, our dear friend, Cindy, to get her closer to her goal. I'm going to copy, go to the conversations, and welcome to Restaurant Spectrum. We talk about anything but comics, and the points don't matter. Anyway, there we go.
Next week is going to be CC Pizza versus Shakey's.
Oh, hands down, CC's. The reason. Because I grew up in the Danville, Illinois area. They closed our Shakey's because our local CBS affiliate was like kind of driving around on a tip, and they went to the back door and found like case after case of dog food.
Ooh.
Oh.
If it was just one, they might have gotten away with it. But
that's almost as bad as Jack in the Box, because the only time I can have Jack in the Box now is when I go out west, or like places like California and stuff.
Yeah.
Were they the ones selling the kangaroo meat back in the late 80s, early 90s, or was that the Wendy's?
No, they were responsible for the first nationwide salmonella outbreak at a burger place.
That's right. Yes. And folks, here's that link for that Stellari, A Quick Game from the Stars. Check it out, and also you can get copies of the books that the game is based on. And it's real fun. It's simple to play. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to getting my copy. And see, Frog G agrees. He's got that link there too. And will Dad rate the steak using 1 to 5 brains instead of stars? Asks Lissy. Eric is unimpressed.
Yeah.
And
drawing horses here.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it fits, with your love of horse skeletons. That maybe they got too close to a pizza place. I see a new future issue of Zombiful World of Oz.
I think only 2 more pages of horses to go. 1 or 2, yeah.
If I were you, Eric, I'd kick the ass of the scriptwriter that wrote that script for you.
All right, one of them's gonna find a motorcycle halfway through, so we're good.
I'm surprised they're not walking. And Carl Witzman loved Shakey's pizza. They must have used the good dog food. And not a speck. That's why they served. They served up their pizzas. All fresh ingredients and not a speck of cereal. And you grew up in Danville. Well, I was raised there. It's a debate on how far I grew up. But yes, I'm from the Danville, Illinois area. I am. And Jennifer has family there. Oh, very cool. Very cool. And Donna and Carl are both from Danville, Illinois too. Yeah. In fact, they still live there. Up on North Vermilion Street. That's all I'll tell you. Just look for the compound. Look for the high walls and the razor wire and the machine gun turrets, and that's where Carl and Donna live. And Jennifer, wow, small world. Yeah.
Dumas lives here. That's the other thing. Donna knows where that's from.
Yeah. And Oakwood, then Danville. Yeah, Oakwood.
Yeah.
A suburb of Danville. Or is actually what I like to tell people. In fact, I got a writing job that way, that everything north of Cairo, Illinois, is a suburb of Chicago. So that's all you need to know about Illinois. So anyway, we've gone through your comments. Please leave more as we go, because God knows we'll give you something to talk about. And so that means Joe is that the phone I hear ringing?
No, there's no phone. It's only one book.
It's on vibrate.
No, it's not even on vibrate. It's on silent because there's only one book.
Oh, you're only doing one book tonight?
Yeah, it's only one book.
Okay. Well then, first of all, since we don't have the artificial drama of the phone line, so everybody cast your vote for which book Joe is going to do.
Yeah, you have option 1, and then option 1, and then option 1 again.
Option 1 or option A? Pick one.
There we go. I'm going to have to think about that. And Carl's the first in the gate. 1.
Carl wins the no prize.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll cast my vote now. And there's mine.
Yeah. Again, you have, well, that's a whole other joke.
And Pro G wants A.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you what then. Tough choice. I'll go for 8 divided by 2 cubed. There's 1 in every crowd, and I'm proud to say that Cindy is ours. And Donna Carlene wants number 10. She wants a 10, and she wants a 10. That's what it is. So you got to review a book that's a 10. I think I'm the only one now that gives out 10s. Who knows? But anyway, while we're waiting, how about I talk about our sponsors before we get into the reviews? All right. So anyway, folks, check out our sponsors, please. Our wonderful, wonderful sponsors. First of all, Rising Tide Publications. Later this year, The Terrors will be released, and I think you're going to dig it. If you dig old-time comics and pulp adventure, then Rising Tide's got what you need. We're available on Amazon.com and Smashwords.com, so check us out. Do a search for Brian K. Morris, and you will find us. And let's see, here we go. All right, and then also we want to talk about our regular sponsor, who we love, Jeffrey Hayes at Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Great googly moogly! Where did you get that beautiful cover? I'm glad you asked that question. That came from Jeffrey Hayes. He also designed the logo, and this is going to be part of a future publication after The Terrors, which will be out later this year. But if you want somebody that cares about your book as much as you do, then please contact Jeffrey Hayes. First, go to the Plasma Fire Graphics page on Facebook and give that a look, see all the beautiful samples they've got, and then following that, go to plasmafiregraphics.com and ask the man about his independent creator-friendly pricing. I think you'll be amazed and happily surprised. Anyway, check out the work there, and also the story, the short story that I won the Pulp Factory Award for last May. This is a Jeffrey Hayes cover. Those things literally sell themselves, and he's great to work with, trust me. So it's plasmafiregraphics.com. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And please check out our sponsors, all right? Because they keep us around. They support us. We like that. So anyway, Joe D. McFee, we're going to give you the floor here.
Okay.
So all the votes in, people?
Yes, it was a landslide.
You sure?
Yes.
It looked pretty close there.
I don't know. It's a landslide.
Oh, okay. If you say so, then okay.
Yeah. Anyone won it.
Oh, democracy in action.
But seriously, tonight's book is one that has been mentioned on the show before. We're just finally getting to like all the older books that have not been picked as of yet. So we're going to talk about the first part of the 4-part series called Nubia and the Amazons, #1. So it's the first issue here. It is done by, I believe it's done by the same staff that did the Nubia and the Amazons, the very first series here, and the Coronation series. I'm trying to see where's the credit for it to make sure that I have that correct here. And they did it in small text here, so give me 1 second. So pretty much it's Stephanie Williams that wrote this. Aletha Martinez is on pencils, followed by a whole host of people on inks, and Alex Gutierrez as the colorist on this bad boy. So pretty much Nubia has now been officially coronated queen of the Amazons of Themyscira. And the other tribes are pretty much in lockstep with those that are on Themyscira. I'm trying to get the glare off of it because you can't tell the actual title because it's yellow, but that's the way that the title logo looks on this one. So now it brings us to what's going to happen from this point forward. Can you guys hear me? Or that I think Brian must have muted himself.
I can hear you. You're fine.
Okay. I just heard the fans just stop.
Okay, the fan will stop again so they can hear you. How's that?
Okay. All right. So this issue starts out with kind of like a little bit of a mystery here. So we got an undisclosed location, somebody, pretty much scrambling to get to safety after being attacked in his own little place that he had there. And then we see it's like, hey, there's only one thing that we asked you to do. We asked you to pretty much, complete this one mission, and we want you to go back and complete this for us. And then they're talking about, and they're showing in the news clip there that Nubia has brought a delegation of Amazons from Themyscira to pretty much the U.S. and they're doing kind of like a tour since she's now finally queen of Themyscira. And now we have this new villain asking him, it's like, we need for you to go back and go and steal this one amulet back from Themyscira. The guy pretty much refused, talking about, why would I do that? Why? It's like, if you're here to kill me, why can't, the only reason you come here to ask me to do it because you're afraid of me, and the person ends up killing him. So that brings us to the beginning of the story here, as far as the way that they are writing this particular issue. And it's called New Beginnings. So it went back to Themyscira a couple of weeks back before that incident happens here. And you was just seeing kind of like the sweeping changes that is happening on Themyscira after the events of Doom's Doorway had finally finished up and everything. So, they have people here, finally getting back, rebuilding certain aspects of the island and, bringing everything back to beauty. And then you have some people racing on kangaroos here. They're talking about, what's next as far as building up the stables and everything. And you're seeing people, tending to the vegetation that's there. And then those that are doing the metallurgy and and blacksmithing. So you're seeing that everything is coming back to a normal functioning there at Themyscira. And then that leads everything back to where the palace, where we have Nubia, and everybody is up here. It's like, well, everything is coming back to normal after all of the events that have taken place. Now, if you want to know what has taken place, then you have to go back to read not only the coronation book, but you also have to read the seven-part series that I did on my channel to understand what actually happened, as far as what I deemed as the next great contest that really didn't happen, but the events of Doom's Doorway intervened with that, because it was about to be a point where a new champion was about to get chosen, but those events got changed quite a bit. So everybody's looking at everything, and we finally see the effects of what happened with Doom's Doorway and why there's a part of the island floating up in the air. So that is still happening and everything. And then after all that, here comes what I kind of get to, don't want to rant about, but I want to make mention of it. Things that may be good, but not the best way to advertise it. You don't take a 2-page spread in a comic book to talk about milestone initiatives like that. You might as well just come out with a separate one-shot to really talk about that and really highlight the work and everything, and the people that, and these 2 pages of people that's working a part of it. You don't take 2 pages out of a story to do something like this. That's a waste of 2 pages. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm not an editor at DC, nor do I have the power over there at Discovery to stop stuff like that from happening. So everything is now fast forwarded, where they're now, in the quote unquote world of man, and it takes place while they're at the Hall of Justice, and the Amazons are taking a tour. So here is Nubia and Diana. They're up here talking about where things are going to go from here with the Amazons, since Hippolyta is not, Hippolyta normally didn't have that great of a relationship with the rest of the superheroes, but Nubia is kind of like reaching out and, becoming more or less like an ally that they can use and everything. And we actually see the Amazons actually bonding pretty well with the members of the Justice League. Like for example, the one tribe that is from Brazil, showing Batman a thing or two about technology and about, Batman about to get ready to say, hey, you're not, don't use the Bat computer for, not really Bat computer, but the computers for, doing social media. But she's up here told him about something that she was doing unique that requires it. It's like, okay, just remember to log out of everything once you're done, type deal. So, and then they kind of, looked in on another one of the warriors talking to Black Canary and Green Arrow, and they're, everybody's kind of fitting in, which is something that you rarely see since, back in the day, since we were always talking about the Amazons. And we always talked about how, everybody seemed to be like outsiders and everything. And we see like, some of the principal supporting cast is just fitting in with everybody there. And, the conversation was going along that way until Diana was about to get ready to ask Nubia. It's like, well, what's really on your mind? There's something like kind of weighing heavy on you and everything. And Diana was up here, was like, hey, with everything that's going on, it's like, the whole thing about living up to what happened with Doom's Doorway, and she was the right person to be coronated queen, because it's a lot of pressure on her to kind of maintain everything either at the same level of Hippolyta or beyond her level. And, it's not within her nature to be kind of like diplomatic per se, but she has the ability to. And then this is when Shiera, aka Hawk Woman comes in and it's like, hey, can I have that moment that moment is like, I think we have like a previous engagement where, I had some time with you. And, that's when, she turned to Diana kind of excused her and everything. It's like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. It's like if she already had scheduled time. So what did she have scheduled time? What did Hawk Girl schedule time to do with Nubia? One may ask, because that seems kind of out of the ordinary. So showing you this, I'm going to show you in 2 pages here, not break it down too quickly here. You got Hawk Girl pretty much taking her to like a training room, and they do some actual physical training. They actually fight, her and the mace, and Nubia with her sword, if I'm correct here. So we got the starting of that fight there, but then we get another 2-page spread, which again, if I was Discovery, I'd be like, stop doing this. A 1-page spread or a half-page spread would have just done Dark Crisis just perfectly fine. You don't need to do a double-page spread for books that are already in print. You could give the people more story and whatnot. But that's just me. So pretty much they're in a training session and everything. So we got, like I said, Nubia and Hawk Girl going at it. And then as it was going on and everything, it got to the point where Shire was about to get the upper hand. And then Nubia did this one type of strike that sent out this one blast. And next thing you know, after it's all said and done, that imprinted on the wall. And even Nubia didn't understand where that come from. So not only does she becomes queen, it's almost as if she got brand new abilities as well, dealing with her brand new position. So that's kind of out of the ordinary. So that may come into play here. So with that being stated, we have somebody kind of like looking in on that, and it's like, oh, okay, so she's being spied on. Well, why is she being spied on? So then the story moves to Para, Brazil, and the delegation that she had with that Nubia has with her goes to Brazil, and they're up here, doing their best to stop forestry in Brazil and everything. So she gives like this whole rousing speech and about how they're about to partner up and everything to keep the forest the way that it is. And then all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of explosions and everything, and an avalanche started. And again, we get another Dark Crisis page for advertising for a checklist. So not only did we get a 2 pages here, we get a 3rd page. They couldn't fit everything together and just knock it out the way where it doesn't interrupt the story. Again, I'm not going to rant about that because we got more story to come across here. So we get another page where it's like everybody heard the blast and everything, and then everybody is taking off running because there's an avalanche coming, and people have to, they're up here trying to get all the people out the way to save as many people as possible due to the explosion. And then again, the action gets interrupted by another ad for Black Adam. Again, not a cool thing here. So with that being stated here, we finally have Nubia giving the last bit of orders here before, as you can see in the background, we have bigger objects, coming down at her, and she takes one mighty swing to save the people and everything. And only thing that is left is the debris that is left from where she swung and cut whatever she cut to save the people that was in front of her. And the only thing that is left is part of her arm, part of her shoulder pad that was that part of her shoulder pad that was part of her uniform. And it starts off with "to be continued." However, the end of the book has more ads one ad and then the tribute. Now, this I don't mind for the Perez tribute. To me, that should have been earlier in the book. Get that out the way. Everything would have been nice and pretty and everything to that magnitude.
But
But
a nice centerfold.
yeah.
Huh.
And then at the very end, we got another Dark Crisis ad talking about issue number 2. Instead of talking about issue number 2 of Nubia, Queen of the Amazons. Again, not for me to kind of rant about that. But overall, outside of the ads and everything, Nubia and the Nubia, Queen of the Amazons #1 pretty much takes off from her coronation and from Trials of the Amazons, and it's a cohesive story. Now, one of the things that irritates me about this is that Trials of the Amazons was told in multiple different titles, of one which being an ongoing title, which makes sense because it's Wonder Woman. But you cancel Wonder Girl to do 2 issues that would have been a part of the Wonder Girl ongoing series before you canceled it. You ended Nubia and the Amazons, where the last issue started off Trial of the Amazons, only to do a one-shot coronation and to move on to this 4-issue miniseries. So that tells me it's like, if you are really building a story around Nubia, why not give her an ongoing series? Doesn't make sense to do it this way. So after these 4 issues, my next question is, are you going to do more Nubia books in the same fashion? Are you going to tell the stories about what's happening with Themyscira in smaller chunks? And if you're going to do that, in smaller chunks, you might as well go ahead and give her her own ongoing series. Stop with the nonsense of these smaller story arcs. Unless that's what, but then again, we don't know what's going on with Discovery and Warner Brothers right now, so that could be up in the air. Also, with saying that, because it's ongoing and it's continuing off from those 2 stories, we're seeing where she's putting in a good faith effort to be at least what Hippolyta saw her to be. Now, the question here is, did she survive her first ordeal dealing with what's going on with Brazil? 9 times out of 10, yes, she survived it. But saying that is more along the lines, based upon the first couple of pages, who is actually spying in on her, and why, and what are they really after as far as the amulet that she's wearing? That's the bigger question, and none of that has been moved upon so far in this story. However, issue 1 is really showing us the character building of Nubia going from warrior to queen, which is so far has been a very good story. With that being stated, we're going to go ahead and give Nubia, Queen of the Amazons #1 a 8 out of 10. It could have been a lot better if they would have tied up all the loose ends dealing with the faction that is spying in on her, and really tying more into some of the things that were mentioned in Trials of the Amazons, as well as the coronation issue. Even right now, it's like it's almost as if she's still doubting herself, and that doubt has been there ever since Trials of the Amazon, and even more so in the coronation issue. But who's to say where they're going to go within the next 3 issues here? But that's what I give this book an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Yeah, I agree, Brian.
That's an excellent point, Brian.
If only you'd heard it, I was brilliant. No, complain about my fan in here. If I pass out, it's all your faults, people. Anyway, but no, I can see the point of mini-series when they're not 100% sure. Wonder Woman's a household word. Nubia is not yet. And just to play devil's advocate, I can see where they, especially now with DC being so tight with their funds and not knowing what Warner Brothers Discovery is going to do to them.
If they get some paid advertisement in their books, they wouldn't have to advertise their own books.
Yeah, exactly. I've been saying that for how many years now?
It's not just that. It's like Nubia's not a household name, so you give her a 6-issue series. Mm-hmm. That 6-issue series sold well. Mm-hmm. Then you come out with another one shot. Now you're coming out with another 4 issues. No, go with the ongoing series. I mean, you didn't do that pretty much the way that you did it with Yara 4.
Yeah.
Yara had the 2 issues from Future State. And what did they do after it sold well? They gave her ongoing series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you have an ongoing series and not a bunch of mini-series, you don't have all the speculators coming out for issue 1 and buying them up.
Yeah, because this way DC gets to sell number one after another with all the variant covers, which I know you love, Joe.
Yeah.
I'll be out of here. Bye.
No, it's not just that. It's just, to me, if you're doing that based upon the speculation rate, at least give us different stories. Don't let all the books tie into one another. Technically, you're telling one concurrent storyline in a way. You're just telling it in chapters.
Well, here's the, in all seriousness, my opinion with the problem with a lot of things like this. The comic book companies, and I'm talking about the big ones, or particularly Marvel and DC, mm-hmm. It worked 30 years ago. And so they keep trying it one more time. And they don't seem to realize that you can only go to the well so many times, and that well went dry in the late 90s. So, because I'm with the constant variant issues, which we were talking about before the show. Y'all should have been there. It was a great conversation. But the variant covers and the, not discouraging the speculation, which I don't know how they could do anyway. I can see a potential for heading right back into the dark lands of the mid to late 90s when the comics market, the bottom has fallen out of it. Think about it. A lot of people weren't, that are following comics now weren't even alive when Marvel was actually in bankruptcy.
That's true.
So they, and we've all found that, most, or I shouldn't say most, that's unfair, but a number of comic fans have no sense of history. Just like the dogs that are barking in the back of Eric's room.
Not my dogs. What are you talking about?
Are they your dogs?
Yes.
I thought so.
Hey, I just had a great idea, though. Since we do have such riveting conversations in the green room before the show and after the show, if you go out to Brian's Patreon and pledge, he'll give you access to it.
Hey, that's an idea. That gives me remind me, Eric, after the show. That just gave me a terrible idea that I should probably follow up on. So, anyway, that was a great review, Joe. Thank you so much. And let's see, here we go. We've got some more comments. Holy cow, do we have more comments? Let's see. And Cindy Cap asks, what happened when Iron Man teamed up with the Silver Surfer? They became alloys. I love it. She's in her prime. And why did Batman and Robin quit going fishing together? Because Robin ate all the worms. And you have to get up early for that, too. And Agent Zero Comics. Good to see you, Agent Zero. Thank you for showing up tonight. Everyone's saying hello to each other. And Agent Zero presents Chrome Dog mailing list. Get on that thing right now on Google.com. Thank you very much for that link there, Frog. And who is always watching over Thor? His Asgardian angel. That is cute. Everyone's saying hello, and that computer is well set up. It even has a battery backup. Oh my God! It's Frog G and City Cap are now a tag team of puns. And I'm Wonder Woman. I'm a woman, and I'll make you wonder.
Good one.
I dare not speak. She is downstairs. Anyway, what happens when Batman is late to play baseball with Robin? There is a Wayne delay. Oh, by the way, we may or may not be talking about a certain Cape Crusader later in this show. I know that thrills everyone.
Thomas Wayne?
Yes, Thomas Wayne, the one true Batman. All right.
Yeah, I don't know where I put Thomas Wayne at. I got Spirit Iron Knife on a horse, though.
You sure do. And wow, that's a lot of ads during the comic itself. Leave them for the back like the old days. Yeah, I agree, because that's what like places like Scout Comics do.
Image.
An Image, yeah, they bundle all their ads in the back of the book, and I think it makes for a better reading experience, frankly.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, when you're really engrossed in that book and you're going, oh yeah, then you go, I got 10 pages here and the story's over.
Yeah.
You think you got 10 more pages to read and it's good, done.
Yeah. At least your lips won't get tired during the last
Geiger hit me with that quite a few times when Geiger was coming out.
Yeah, and when I have to say, I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for Geiger.
Oh, did you read it?
Yes, I picked it up on Comixology.
Oh, cool.
I genuinely enjoyed it. That was...
I really liked it quite a bit.
I did too, and I even picked up the annual too on Comixology. That was fantastic, and I'm really excited for some of the spin-off books coming from that. So.
One of them comes out this month or next month, I think.
Yeah, the one about the soldier. I can't remember. Hardware Joe or something like that.
Yeah, the robot.
The robot
soldier.
Yeah. But Brian Rodman used to talk about how he hated the rest of us here on the show because we were putting such a hammerlock on his wallet. Well, now it's my turn because I had to thank Brian for Saga, which if you're not reading Saga, folks, please pick that up. That is one of the most riveting space adventures. Very character oriented.
I was about to say you're going to have to convince me and Joe because no one has yet.
No, I picked up. I read issue 1 and I wasn't sold on it. And just recently, when they started back up, I picked up the very first issue when they started back up, and it's still the same type of stuff. It's not something that's up my alley.
And it is. I would agree with you guys that it is kind of an acquired taste. Having read so many bleeping comics in my life, this was very character driven, and there is no guarantee that any of the characters who started out the book in issue 1 are going to survive to the final issue. And they make that abundantly clear, and I like that kind of unease that generates. And all of the getting rid of the characters have made perfect sense. And a couple of them even surprised me.
I just don't like the randomness of certain events in those books.
Yeah,
it's very character driven, and that's like I picked up on that. I kind of like where they're going with certain characters, but then all of a sudden it's like here's this random event, and it throws you completely off as far as why do we need to do and handle this event now? That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, but a lot of those, I agree with you about the randomness. That started getting on my nerves too, but it does all have a payoff. Because a lot of these characters have like a little subplot going, then you don't see them for a while. Then they come in. They come back, and they're dealing with the stuff that went on in their subplot. It is a very rich tapestry in there. You can, if you go to like hoopla.com, which your local library may be a part of, so it's not like you're doing anything illegal. In fact, I found out, and I've told these guys, when you get a graphic novel to read from Hoopla, the publisher gets some money from it. They get a royalty of sorts, so please support Hoopla and support your local library. But yeah, they have them in omnibus form now, and it's a real good way to read like a whole bunch of them at once. I think it goes up to about issue 54 in the omnibus books, and then from there it's the individual issue. So I'm caught up to issue 60. But yeah, that's good. And I think I'm on the 3rd book of Paper Girls that Brian Rodman recommended. I understand it's a limited TV series that's just been canceled. I think I saw the other day, but it's not as good, but I'm really enjoing it.
I can see why it was canceled.
I can too.
It wasn't thick. The show might be great. I mean, the show was just it didn't even get Jennifer's attention. She's like, it's kind of weird. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I did the same thing with Buffy Vampire Slayer. I only watched about like 4 episodes, and I thought this is not the movie. The movie's a lot better. And of course, episode 5 is when things start picking up. Of course, so that's my luck. Carl Whitson also says, "Do you think that Dark Crisis isn't selling too well?" I'm sure it's selling hand over fist. And Frog G says, "Is this half comic, half ad?" And Cindy Cap asks, "But have you heard about Dark Crisis? We may or may not be mentioning a Dark Crisis comic during the end of the show here. You never know. And might the miniseries be for the short attention span crowd?" Okay, I think Cindy just nailed it. They are definitely broadcasting to me on my frequency. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm the guy who couldn't keep track of Sandman until I started reading the trades. Carl Winston says smaller ads work too. How many X-ray specs did they sell? I miss those. It was a small ad, but it was repeated over and over. In-house ads should be smaller too. Well, I remember DC and Marvel up until like the mid-'70s used to have half-page ads. In fact, to save money, this is so esoteric. Nobody's going to care about, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Marvel, to save money, made their artists for about 6 months. You know, all comic art is drawn larger than the printed size, about 50% larger. Well, what Marvel is doing is making them draw it 1-to-1, and you could tell because they would have the half-page ads. They'd cut the page in half and print it so that the lack of detail didn't show up so badly. But they print it as is, and you know. It didn't look quite as good, and I think it was some pushback on it. So, but check your old Marvels later on, kids, and buy a lot of them. And especially as much as you pay for comics now. Yeah, and, you know, like we've been saying, you know, like Eric said, you know, I think it'd be much better if they actually got somebody that could sell ads for comics. You know, and...
You just don't see that much anymore. Even
No, you
Marvel,
don't.
and I mean, Image, I don't even think you see them.
Well,
or DC, especially.
I think that stopped because of circulation. When your circulation is not that great, why would people want to spend the type of money for an ad?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
No, that's true.
That's
That's a very good point.
A book like this, if it does, let's say, 25,000 units, that's not going to impress, you know, like Levi's jeans to advertise it in there.
Only if it's Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, he's got an in. But no, you're right. You know, and I'm not counting things like Black Adam because it's still a Warner Brothers Discovery product.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm not even counting them anymore.
I mean, even with Marvel now, you know, the only outside ads that Marvel is really showing is things that have their IP on it. So you might get like a Citizens Watch advertisement, but it's a Citizens Watch advertisement that has Spider-Man on it.
Yeah, and that, for all we know, not being able to see the contract, that might have been part of it. You know, yeah, we'll to entice you into getting this license, we'll give you some ad space in our comics. I could see that going on.
I'm going to say neither one DC nor Marvel have anyone running their advertising department that's any good, because I mean, or marketing department. I mean, because you can go out to their websites and you can't find where to buy comics or to buy comics direct from their websites. They really don't even mention comics too much.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Especially Marvel. Marvel doesn't really mention too much. It has all the history and stuff out there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, you want this? Buy this trade paperback here. Oh, you looking for this? Here's this comic shop locator near you. No, nothing like that.
Exactly.
Or point you to the link for comic shop locator.
Yeah, and I just in the 1-800-Comics number is not a part of the comics thing. That's an independent entity there. But I just looked at the indicia here for this one comic that we'll be talking about tonight, and I cannot find the name of who their advertising person is. And you used to have that.
Yep.
So I've also got IDW here, which if you knew it came out this week, now you know what I'm going to be reviewing.
Yeah, Joe?
Yeah. Love me some Joe.
A Larry Hama book? Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Well, actually, I can't because the print on this is so small. I can't read it with an electron microscope. Good God.
So I just looked through a Marvel and Image book. Both of them are just their ads.
Yeah.
And an Aftershock book. And Aftershock, I don't think they even advertise for anyone else but them.
Yeah. I see a marketing lead.
But Carl gave me a great idea. That's why I had to get up and get a pencil, because I'm at my digital disc. I don't have a drawing utensil under my stylus. The Army Soldier ads. I think I might make a spoof zombie soldier ad to put in one of my books.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But
Zombie seahorses. I can see this. I can see this. Oh, I almost killed Eric. I can see you having some fun with this.
I've been wanting to put like a vintage comic ad in my books for a while. It's a lot of work to do.
It is, but it'll be fun. It'll pay off. So,
but this is the weird thing that I can remember, because back in the day, it's like you didn't have full page ad for other comics in your book unless it was the full page subscription. Yeah. And that goes all the way back when Marvel and DC was doing like their own subscription, and they will have that full page, and it's like, here's the titles that you can get from us if you pay us, what was it, $8.75 for $10, $10 for the year or something like that. You can get it sent directly to your house.
Plus an annual,
yeah. And I can remember back in the day, DC and Marvel had, send us $1, you get a year's worth of Superman or Action Comics. So, yeah, I miss those days. We name days we ain't seeing again, he said as he went by the gas pumps. But anyway,
the day in comic book stores advertising in comics, those are gone.
Well, that's a bugaboo.
The 2 and 3 page ads of Mile High Comics, where it's like, oh, you missed the issue. Here's a listing of all the back issues that you can get from us.
That's how I got some of my older G.I. Joes, because I was getting all my comics at like a drugstore, the grocery store, and then I started saying, "Oh, I missed this one. Oh, I could order it. Dad, can I have a check?"
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do what with that? I want a comic book, Dad.
Oh, that's how I filled out all my back issues back in the early 70s. Howard Rogofsky. And then the Passaic Book Center out of Passaic, New Jersey, because they had better prices and better packaging.
But once you ordered, you started getting the catalog in the mail.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's how I remember places like Terry's Comics, East Coast Comics, Mayfield Comics, Mayfield, Miles High. I mean, it was a whole slew of them, but those days are gone. And now you got these full-page ads where these companies are just advertising themselves, and they're advertising themselves to oblivion to an audience that either A, don't care, because like you said, it's like, to me, it doesn't make any sense to have a Batman advertisement all throughout a Wonder Woman book where you got her own family, where you can have like Yara's book, Nubian's book, and all these other books associated with Wonder Woman advertised.
Yeah.
I mean, I get, major events like Dark Crisis and stuff like that. That's a no-brainer. But 2 or 3 Batman ads, 2 or 3 Superman ads, but yet this is a Wonder Woman book. That's just like, we don't see that happen in Superman, where Superman is getting interrupted by 5 different Wonder Woman books.
Yeah, that's true.
5 different Batman books, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 The letters DC now stand for Batman. But anyway. Anyway, Carl has a couple other things. Says, I am full of ideas, not all of them are good. And, oh no, says Donna Carlene. Carl inspired Eric, be careful, Jennifer.
100 soldiers for $1.75. There it is right there. Includes with Foot Locker.
There we go. See? There we go. Yeah, we'll make them the kind. I'm seeing all those spam ads now for, were you in, like, what was it, Fallujah? Or, no, Camp Lejeune. Camp Lejeune. This will be the Camp Lejeune dolls or something.
My spam email folder's full of those.
Oh, mine's choking on them. Yeah, I hear you. So anyway, again, thank you, Joe, for that great review. And Eric, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're giving you the screen, buddy. Here you go.
Well, first off, I was like, got quiet. Oh, Brian muted his mic. Okay.
Fine.
I was like, did I just go dead?
Now you know how I felt while I was talking, and all of a sudden it's like, oh.
I thought everything just went dead. I had to look around real quick. If you guys did not back Amazonia from Joe, look what you missed out on. Look at this. Look at this.
Cool. That's some good looking stuff there, Joe.
Mine came this week, and I got to dig into it. Now, so last week I reviewed The Vineyard, #1. I knew issue and bought The Vineyard #2. And this is, once again, it's written by Brian Hawkins, no relation, drawn by Sammy Cavella, letters by Jason Werney, and colors by Taylor Esposito. So this family worships a god of wine, and they have to make sacrifices to the family or to the god to have a healthy harvest every year. And they have to do kill at least 4 people before harvest time. And they're running behind this year because the father was in an accident. He's in a wheelchair. He can't do it anymore. The daughter moved away completely before her father was even in the accident and didn't even come back to visit when he was in the accident because she's so fed up with all the nonsense going on in the family. And the mother just doesn't have a stomach to do it anymore. So the son has to come in and do the killing, which it left off last issue. He had taken the mom's best friend and, stabbed her and paralyzed her so that he could take her to the altar and sacrifice her in front of all the imp-like creatures that show up anytime they're talking to the god or do something for the god, which nobody can see. They can't even see them, but they do draw them in here. I finally caught on to what's going on here. I don't know if I should show this one. But, okay, so the imp creature, while he's praying to the god after he's paralyzed his mom's best friend to go take her to sacrifice her to the god. This side. The invisible imp creature, we could see as the audience, gets down on her knees and, it makes him very happy. And he's really excited that he takes the body out and, stabs her and gets one more count for the body count they need. The daughter finally comes home because she's worried about her mom, brings her fiance. It's not her new husband. It's only her fiance because she's worried about her mom. Can tell the stress in her mom's voice that she wants to get out of this relationship with this crazy god. And that keeps going throughout the book. And you start to get a feel that the God they're praying to, you never see him, but you often see these little creatures around all the menfolk. And I'm thinking that there might not actually be a God or something because there's like a little orgy here. He's having all kinds of drunk wine and these invisible creatures all over him. But they're not happy the daughter's back either because they're lurking over her sleeping body in one of the panels. They're not happy at all. The book is progressing very nicely. I mean, issue 1 went to issue 2. It's the story keeps continuing along. The art's really good, and I really like the art. I've never heard of the artist before, so this is the first time seeing anything from him, or I just don't recognize the name. But there's a lot of detailed, even the backgrounds. I mean, you got this little winery, and there's all kinds of wine bottles in the back. You got the shelving and all that stuff. There's more effort than I put in the stuff. And there was one panel. It just amused me because it was just a little thing that they didn't have to put in here. This is the kind of stuff I look at. The little chair that goes up the stairs for the dad because he's in a wheelchair and can't get up themselves anymore. So it's just a nice little ad. Perspective's real good on all the drawings. This book has been a pleasant surprise for me for just picking it up because I had my brother's name as like one of the writers, which I thought was just kind of a novelty for me. But it's a very good book. The mother is going to try to seduce her husband because she doesn't think he loves her anymore, and I don't think he does. I think the men are just obsessed with these female imp-like things, and that's just about it. I think they're going to kill people, not the god. That's where I think it's going. I'm really looking forward to issue 2, but I gave the last one a 9, and I never do that. I gotta give this one a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for issue 2.
Yeah, you're looking for issue number 2 again, huh? I thought it was going to be issue 3.
Oh, 3. I'm sorry. I'm looking forward to issue 3. Yeah, I really like the book. It's enjoyable.
Very cool. Very cool.
But not for kids. I said that last week too. Not for kids, especially with the fellatio from the little invisible tree creatures.
Well, it's better they learn it from comics than in the street.
Well, yeah. You don't want to see a tree doing that in the street.
Oh God, no!
That tells me that kid shouldn't be reading Saga either because of the randomness of that.
Ooh,
that book.
I thumbed through when it, they relaunched or came back out again. I thumbed through it. I was like, maybe I'll pick up. Robin said, "Oh, good grief! It's like a penthouse."
But with splinters.
Yeah.
Lizzie says, Wiki says Dionysus had female followers called Menads.
Oh, well, that's why I won't remember that. I'm still going to call them.
There we go.
Or whatever.
Save big money at. Never mind. And nickel through the chat like we do. That was a note. Carl's that said I should mute myself but keep the fans going, which I've got one other fan going, but we have turned off the big one. So anyway, and often the main ads were, and I know I'm mispronouncing it, but they were portrayed as inspired by Dionysus into a state of ecstatic frenzy through a combination of dancing and intoxication. Usually with me, it's the other way around. It's the intoxication, then I start dancing.
There is one of those in True Blood.
Yeah.
Yep, I do remember that.
So, in other words, they're a step down from being a full-blown stripper without the stripper pole.
Way to put it in perspective, Joe.
Intoxication and dance is like, what's next,
Yeah. Well, we may find out in issue 3. Lizzie says, generally depicted as mad and in a frenzy, tearing flesh from animals while running in the forest. And I agree with Carl. Thank you, Lizzie, for the info. Mm-hmm. And Donna Carleen said, turned off the big one. That's what she said. Well said, Donna. Well played. And now, since Clyde isn't here, we are going from the gold standard to the no standard right now. So,
copper standard, here we go.
No standard, A standard.
A standard, a low standard, one you'll trip over on the way out.
Standard. We're not preferencing which standard. It's just A standard.
That's right. That's right. It's easily achievable. So anyway, here's my reviews, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff. Last couple weeks for me, it's feast or famine with me. The last couple weeks were famine. I only got like 1 or 2 comics, which is one of the reasons I didn't do a review. I don't think I did a review last week, and that's one of the reasons why. Now, this week, though, there was a bounty of good comics that came out. Now, first of all, we've got a couple things that are kind of related to comics. And, of course, my buddy Michael Urey has a new issue of Retro Fan, surfs up 60s beach movies with Annette Funicello, Frankie Avalon, all kinds of cool things. Article on the Masters of the Universe by Andy Mangels, who put together the interviews for the DVDs. And by the way, when you get the DVD of the original full season of them, you're going to see a certain name as one of the transcribers. But this is a great thing. It's got article on Zorro by Will Murray, who's the current writer on the Doc Savage novels. He does a thing on the animated Zorro with Henry Darrow from the 70s. And followed by articles on, it's got Smoochin'. All right. Sandra D., Gidget, The Invisible Bikini, Batman, and The Sun Never Sets on the Wild Wild West. All right, and it's written by Mark Ellis, a friend of mine who did a Wild Wild West comic back in the 90s that was actually quite good. I learned quite a lot from these articles, and also a great article on Michael Dunn, the very talented actor who played Miguelito Loveless in the original Robert Conrad Wild Wild West. Also was in, I think he was nominated for an Oscar for Ship of Fools back in the early 60s. Very, very talented actor. And plus, there's a big article by Scott Shaw on cartoons, cycle tunes, drag cartoons, and more. And I haven't read it all yet because I want to read about drag cartoons. No, it's not about guys dressing up as gals. It's about drag racers. And for a while, they had Gilbert Sheldon's Wonder Warthog in it, one of my favorite underground comics, and artwork by like Russ Manning and Alex Toth. Some really quality stuff there. Plus an interview with Norman Lear, who just passed his 100th birthday. And who else here? Valley Girls, Valley Speak. A look at somebody's action figure collection. And of course, Will Murray writing about. Or it was Will Murray writing about it, not Angie Mangels, my bad, on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I'm still in that thing, though. And some mail. This is always a 10 out of 10. You will learn a lot of stuff about our past pop culture history. Edited by the amazing Michael Urie. And now and that's from Tomorrow's Publications. You should be able to find that at your local Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. Now here's one you'll find in your comic shops also. Alter Ego, edited by Roy Thomas. And Eric, I'm going to point this out to you. The co-creator of Moon Knight has a big interview in here.
Who's Moon Knight?
Don yeah, this guy. Remember him? Anyway, you young people, no sense of history. But anyway, Don Perlin is in his 80s and still drawing comics. He had, and his career spans back to the 50s. And he's worked for damn near everybody. And he's done cartooning, writing, penciling, inking. Was at Valiant, DC, Marvel, St. John. All kinds of cool places. And lots of artwork. Lots of illustration. My only complaint about this interview, I wish it had gone on longer. It was that interesting. Plus Werewolf by Night. There's also a page in here where Jim Shooter talks about working with Don Perlin. Excellent article there. And also by Will Murray. This is another article by Will where he talks about early Marvel cover variants, where the advertising cover, the covers in the ads didn't quite match up with the reality of what was put on the newsstands. Profusely illustrated, plus an article on Marcia Snyder, a Golden Age artist by Alex J. Drew Mary Marvel, Jungle Girl, Taboo, all kinds of cool stuff. And then an excellent article on Marvel Mania International, which was the Marvel fan club that took the place of the Mary Marvel Marching Society back in the early 70s, and was done before FOOM, and where Mark Evan Neer got his big start. And then the final chapter of John Broom's autobiography. John Broom wrote primarily for DC, and he did like the Elongated Man, as you see here, the Flash, Green Lantern, Rex the Wonder Dog, the Phantom Stranger, Captain Comet, the Flash, the Justice Society of America, just a whole bunch of stuff. And it's the last chapter of his autobiography being printed here with permission from his estate. And it was retyped by someone we know and tolerate. Plus, big article by Michael T. Gilbert on Cracked and Mad and their rivalry. And then the back is Fawcett Collectors of America, dealing with Captain Marvel and the Fawcett characters. This illustration by Jack Katz, who did the First Kingdom, and some great some good obituaries, including my friend David Anthony Kraft. This one is also a solid 10 out of 10. If you want to learn more about the history of this medium, definitely go and check out Back Issue and Alter Ego and Retro Fan, because this is just so gosh darn fun. Now for comics. I actually picked up 5 this week. And plus one that had been out for a couple of weeks, I finally picked it up too. I'm going to go up in order here. I got, we talked about Dark Crisis. I got the Wonder Woman tie-in with the backup for the Martian Manhunter. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's the premise is with these Dark Crisis tie-ins is that the Pariah is calling up the Great Darkness, which is an old Legion of Superheroes concept, and to power his ambitions, he has put the so-called dead members of the Justice League in their own dimensions and given them the world they would most like to live in. Like Superman from a couple months ago gets to live in a world where he got to see his son John grow up and not be kidnapped by Jor-El, which is a story in itself. The Wonder Woman story is okay. Like I said, it's nothing great. And it's almost like it's setting up a possible spin-off, which, meh. It has a lot of Easter eggs in it. Art's not that bad. It's pretty good. But the story is kind of lackluster. Now, the backup is not too bad. What does paradise look like on Earth? And it's John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, who is grafted his DNA on the Earthlings. And now they all look like Cthulhu. So, don't ask me why. But it's a nice little noir story. I wonder if this had been the lead feature and taken up more pages, this book will get a higher score. But it's not. So it won't. And it's got a few twists in it. It's not bad. And now here's my main complaint. The Super Powers toys from McFarlane Toys, they're beautiful. But they don't have the capabilities of the originals from the 80s. Like where you could squeeze Superman's legs and his fists would go up.
Yes, they pretty much got rid of that gimmick for articulation.
Yeah.
But those don't have much articulation. I've seen them in the stores, yeah.
No, they don't. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points.
Yeah, I think the new DC characters have at least 21 points.
Yeah, the expensive ones. Yeah, those are nice. But and an editorial to Pat McCallum, who recently passed away. I'm giving this one an 8, and it's really only getting the high score because of the Martian Manhunter backup, because it's so well done. Wasn't impressed. Now earlier Joe was eating popcorn. And if you want popcorn for your brain, check out Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Screw that.
Written by Eric's #1 writer, aside from me. You know what we ought to do? I ought to reach out to Cullen Bunn and send him some copies of Zombieful World of Oz and have him give you a review and see what he says. This should be fun. Anyway, let's see you and him fight. But anyway, this, of course, wraps up the 5-issue series of Godzilla meeting the original set of Power Rangers. It's not bad. The art is kind of nice. You'll go blind looking for a plot in this thing.
That's the reason why I stopped getting it, because it was very thin. It was a fun. It's a fun romp, but it had no plot to it.
Yeah, it is very airy, shall we say. But it's not bad. I think it would be a great comic for kids who don't ask for a lot from their comics. I'm willing to give this and the entire series a 9, mostly because I do dig Freddie Williams' art. He does some really good stuff, tells a really good story. There's lots of eye candy here, but other than that, this is obviously not exactly going to be Citizen Kane. So I'm giving this and the entire series a 9 overall. I really did enjoy it, but
you give it a series a 9?
Yeah.
I stopped after issue 3. And at that point, it was about a 6 because of a couple of lines that they had in there.
Yeah.
And I'm up there, was like, you know what? It doesn't have a plot anymore. It's just a fun little, hey, we're going to meet Godzilla and we're going to deal with kaijus. And once I took it like that, it's like, okay, it's a fun little romp. I don't get a story out of it. That makes it go down in my book, but it's not a bad series as far as overall reading. But it's more of like a 6 to me, because especially the one line where it said where it's like, Rita, why didn't we just come here in the beginning where you could just took over? And nothing, no explanation.
Yeah, I have a feeling something dropped out in translation. Mm-hmm. Maybe by the time it got from the scripting phase to the lettering to the printing phase. I have a feeling there probably is an answer because I remember that, Joe, and probably it'll show up when they do the inevitable trade paperback. But no, I like the fact that this book does not promise to be more than it is.
Right.
And it fulfills that promise. So I'm willing to give it a lot of room for that reason. It didn't promise to be the end-all be-all of all comic book literature. It's not like the next Watchmen. But it's adequately, I think it's well executed for the most part. And unlike a lot of the stuff that Eric has been reviewing, I didn't have to run to Cullen Bunn's website for a translation. So I'm all over it.
Again, if he would have messed up the Power Rangers, everybody would have been all over him. If he would have messed up Godzilla, everybody would have been all over him. It's not something that was uniquely had to be created by him. He had background information. He knows what he can do.
It fit right in, and really, I think that's his job. It's not to suddenly give Godzilla human level consciousness. It is not to turn the Power Rangers evil. Basically, I see that a lot of these licensed characters, you are there like the old Dells, like the old Gold Key, to emulate the source material as closely as you can from another medium. I think Cullen did a good job of it. I think he succeeded in that. Again, we're not looking for the Watchmen here. We're not looking for Alan Moore. We're getting Cullen Bunn, and we got it, and we don't need to check any websites to find out what the hell the plot is supposed to be, because there's not much of one, and that's fine. It's the same way with the original broadcast. It's like those are easy to do elevator pitches on because you're struggling to get a second sentence out of it. So anyway, I'm giving it good marks. I'm also.
Ooh.
Eric, your microphone's still on. Anyway, Superman, Son of Kal-El. I love this book.
I wonder if that was an allergic reaction, especially from the last book, too.
I'm sure. But anyway, this is, of course, I love Tom Taylor's writing. Mm-hmm. I think he's one of the best writers around right now. And he writes a really great story. We've got a couple cameos in here that are worth your attention. Lex Luthor shows up, and you the classic meme with Robin and Batman from the old World's Finest thing, that one, the slap. And Bleeding Cool had this, so spoilers, kids. Damian gets his own on Henry Bendix. This one.
Yeah, no,
on Brian Bendix.
Yeah, William Bendix. I loved him in Life of Riley. But anyway, it is very fast paced, setting up for some future stuff, I can tell. But again, it's just a really solid read here, and it is really enjoyable. And I will say, this is a good jumping off point if you're not enjoying Superman, Son of Kal-El. And if you see the last page, which again, Bleeding Cool did see it. And if the last page upsets you, please unfollow this show. Okay? This is a 10 out of 10, mostly because it will piss some people off. Anyway.
If someone has their own opinion, you want them to unfollow the show because it doesn't agree with yours?
No, only because if they don't agree with me, chances are they are transphobic or homophobic. Let's say it. I'm playing just a great big clue there, so what it is. But anyway, moving on.
But that doesn't answer the other question that I have here.
Which is?
What's going on with the current Justice League? Because remember, he was trying to put together the next Justice League after... Well, that's getting to the Dark Crisis stuff.
Yeah, that's getting to the Dark Crisis, and I'll tell you right now, Joe, it is not moving forward. It's probably going to happen in Dark Crisis, although according to the latest direct currents, the Justice Society will be coming back in a couple of books, so... at least one of which will be written by Jeff Johns. So that'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm going to review 3 books. Now I got them all off of Comixology because one, they're big, and I don't wear these things just for effect. Okay, the effect is I can't read anything. But anyway, it's in mint condition. This is a 10.0. And look, it looks like it's slabbed already, so I saved a lot of money, too. But anyway, this is a brand new book, and I know Joe would be glad to see a Batman and Robin book. Except this one is written by Mark Waid. And Mark is one of my favorite writers. He is terrific. And there is a certain someone that comes back, shall we say. I'm not gonna, it's kind of a plot point, so I'm not gonna show it. But it is someone who died within the last 2 years in the Batman book. And there is some cool, super cool guest stars, namely, I guess it'd be Joaquin Thunder, the guy in purple, Damian Wayne after his stint in his own magazine, and Tim Hunter from the Books of Magic. And they have joined forces to do something to Batman, but it's not specified yet. Great fight scenes, and boom! We have sound effects and splashy stuff.
Let me see that again. Hold on.
Okay, sure.
Needs a drop shadow.
Yeah, just a little. That would have been fine, but it's not bad. It's not bad, and you got a big picture of Batman there. Look, he's Simon Templar. He's got a halo now. Do. Anyway, it's a solid story. I think it's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. There's about 40 pages or so per issue. Okay. And unlike the Superman Batman book, World's Finest, where you're not sure if it's in continuity or not, it doesn't read like it is, this one is definitely in continuity. So, Mark gets to play with the DC Universe. And, of course, I got to show this one.
Oh, the T-Rex comes back to life?
Yes, and the Thunderbolt and Johnny are riding it.
Wow.
I know, that's what I said. I thought that is just too freaking cool. Nice little resolution to all this stuff. And setting up for the next issue, this is a solid read. The artwork is great. Plenty of surprises. It's Mark Waid. He's one of my favorite writers too. I'm really enjoying this book. This one delivers more, because I went in not knowing a lot about this, because I don't pay a lot of attention to comic news. I've read it all before. But anyway, Batman vs. Robin, 5-issue miniseries. I think it's about $5.99 per book, but you get extra pages. Definitely worthwhile. I would definitely consider picking it up. It's a 10 out of 10.
Now, the character that you're not going to talk about.
Yes.
Is it a correction to what was done previously? So that means a certain individual to Batman's lore that is near and dear to his heart is back there.
Let's just say during the New 52, we could call him Lefty.
Ah, okay.
Okay? I just gave it away for long-time comic fans. And then what is it? I'm going to review
I don't know what kind of geek speak you guys are talking about.
Well, I've got 2 more you can figure out. So, Marvel, of course, now is writing DC's idea train here. They used to be the House of Ideas. Now they're the House of somebody else's ideas. And I wasn't going to pick this up originally, but I took a look through it at the stands, and I thought, this might be worthwhile. As you know, like a couple years ago, Marvel put out Marvel Comics number 1000.
Right.
Emulating like the detective and the action comics that DC put out, which was legitimate. Those actually hit 100, whereas the other one did not. Nor did this one, Amazing Fantasy number 1000. Now, it starts out with a J.R. Jr. Scott Hanna cover, and it's got contributions from Jonathan Hickman, Neil Gaiman, Steve McNiven, Claus Jansen, Kurt Busiek, Terry and Rachel Dodson, Ryan Stegman, Dan Slott, longtime writer, Michael Cho, whose artwork I really like, Olivier Copier. There's some really good stories in here, including Kurt Busiek's is a sequel to Amazing Fantasy 15. But it's the backup story. It's not the Spider-Man story. And in this, there's like half a dozen different stories in here by different art teams. This is the Michael Cho written and drawn one. Why Spider-Man keeps picking on this one bad guy. Then here's the Ryan Stegman page. That's lovely. I'm sorry there's some glare on it and some reflection. But this is a solid read. It was really good. A future Spider-Man story with Peter and Mary Jane. Some really imaginative stories in here. I really enjoyed them, and there is a certain someone that guest stars in the last story by Neil Gaiman. If I can get to it without driving everyone away here. And look at that art. That's lovely stuff. Mm-hmm. And it guest stars a certain someone named Neil Gaiman. And it ties into a special...
He wrote himself into the comic?
He wrote himself into the comic. And also, he wrote in British TV host Jonathan Ross, and a certain someone who works in a studio and co-created Spider-Man. No, not Stan. This is based on a real event where Jonathan and Neil went up to Steve Ditko's studio and actually had an interview with him, although Ditko refused to be recorded so that he can keep his privacy. But that's a lovely story. And then they have a lovely tribute to one of the people that worked in, I think it was marketing. Yeah, marketing. We talked about marketing. At least Marvel has someone. And he, like Peter David, used to work in marketing. Kurt Busiek used to work in marketing. And they graduated into being full-fledged writers. And this man passed away recently. And so they got Todd Knock to draw his... I love Todd's work. I think he's highly underrated. But they got him to draw 5 pages of the man's script.
Ooh.
That he was writing like a 5-issue he wanted to write a 5-issue series. He made the pitch and editorial turned him down, but he wrote the script anyway. And unfortunately he passed away. But Todd Knock went ahead and drew 5 pages of it, which I think is a lovely tribute to the man. Okay. This has got some solid entertainment in it. It's about as it's just slightly more. It's got more story to sink your teeth into than say Godzilla and the Power Rangers.
Oh, duh.
Yeah, cotton candy versus like. Pardon me. I'm allergic to it. I'm allergic to plots. I can't take anymore. Versus like grilled cheese. It's not really great for you, but it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, it is really good. They got some really better stories than I anticipated here. So I would this is worth getting. This is about $7.99 from your local comic shop, and it's worth it. I give it a 10 out of 10. It delivers on the entertainment.
Oh, hell, it's frozen over. Brian,
I know.
It's 10.
I know, but wait a minute. I've got one more. And you're wondering, I'm also going to give this a 10. And it's one that I guarantee people haven't talked about. Love Everlasting from Image Comics. Now you're saying, Brian, romance it's got to be a send-up of romance comics. It's not. It reads like a romance comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now the first issue had like 3 different stories. And they had different plots. They were all about a girl who finds her true love, but something's standing in the way. I know you're shocked. In the second issue, there's like 3 stories that are linked by a common thread. They take place in different eras.
Uh-huh.
The girl remembers having different names. The girl remembers her boyfriend having different names. Hi, honey.
Hi, honey. I'm going to be going to bed.
Okay, mwah. Love you. My honey. What?
I left your light on downstairs.
Oh, thank you. And just set the alarm for whenever you want to get up.
What time do we need to be there?
I don't know. I'm on the air.
Oh, yeah. Bye.
That's okay. You can talk. My wife is talking to me. We're gonna.
Okay. She can put her thumbs back in the picture.
Yeah, you can put your hands in here if you move the fan. I don't have it on. For those of you who watched Nevermind the Furthermore, we have a special guest star tonight. That's right. Yeah. It's Cookie. Hi, Cookie. Anyway, there's your screen capture for you. But anyway, you set if you want to go to the meeting, we can do that. Okay?
Yeah.
And you just set yours and we'll wake up to it, okay?
Okay.
All right, I love you.
Love you.
Mwah. And you can just leave the fan where it is.
Okay.
I've got the other one going. So, anyway, that was Cookie's hand. Thank you guys for indulging me. But anyway, no. This is one long multi-chapter story that continues from the old one. And it reads like a romance comic. And this one is about two people that were born, a man and a woman born on the same day. But one is of money, and she's the daughter of the servant girl that works there. And how their love was not meant to be, but she remembers her other lives from the first issue. And you know, his lips upon mine, I should have felt safe, secure, as if all the problems of yesterday were mere soap bubbles, so easily popped as we reached our happily ever after. But instead, I knew we were just at the beginning of the hunt for love. But it reads like a romance comic, but there is this underlying current of weirdness to it, that why is she remembering other loves, not just from the past, but from the future? And it goes from the Western era up to the current day. I need to look at the artist, but it's got a very pleasing storytelling style. Reminds me a lot of Bruce Timm.
No, not him. I know who it reminds me of.
Yeah?
It reminds me of Darwin Cook.
Yes, that was somebody else I was thinking of when I was reading this. Good call, Joe. And of course, there's going to be
it is Elsa Cartier.
Elsa Cartier, yes, and the writer is Tom King, which is what drew me to it originally. And of course, next month, Too Late for Love. It's really good stuff. You know, and of course, if you like superheroes, it's going to suck. You're going to give it a -half star. But if you like stories that have mystery to them and are, strong characterization, and Tom King is a master of knowing the genre and knowing the conventions. And he hits all the right bases, although there hasn't been a legitimate love comic since like the late 70s, I think. But this stuff is good. This is
what about the Zombieful World of Oz with the Wicked Witch and the Monkey King?
That's true. That's true. Available from Stone Door Studios, available on Facebook. But that I showed you the cover for the second issue. Both issues should be out. This just came out. Let's see. Here we go. And I love you, Joan, and I always will. And I love you, George, and tomorrow I'll be your bride. Poor George. Why did I have to lie to him? Why can't I tell him the truth? There is no tomorrow. But this is a really good read. You can love it as a mystery story. You can love it as a supernatural thing. But you can love it as a pure romance comic. They have done a super job on this, and I am really excited by seeing different stuff. This is the sort of thing you expect to see from like somebody crowdfunding or something. So Love Everlasting, 2 issues out right now. Go get them both. Giving each of those a 10. I think if you're looking for something really different from comics, aside from people in tight costumes, this might be your book. This might be your book, and I think it's really good. And I really enjoyed it. So I got some good comics this week. I'm happy. It's been a while. And there's one of the variant cover. I think that's one of the variant covers.
Yeah, variant of issue 1.
Yeah, and that's the one that attracted my eye. And then to find out that Tom King was writing it, because people are drawn to artists. I'm attracted to art writers, obviously.
This is not the new ones. Well, it's a new one. It's not the ones that just came out. This one, it is 21 points of articulation. Mm-hmm. But look at this. You can't even put him in a flying pose because his head won't go back.
Oh, man, that sucks.
But G.I. Joe, he's got 28 points of articulation. You can go into a flying pose. And Duke will kick your butt.
That's right. Using his Kryptonian might.
Yo!
That's unfair. Anyway, So anyway, that is my review, and here we go. We've got more comments, oddly enough.
Whoa.
And Carl Westman says, probably need a subscription to RetroFan. Yeah, and Carl, I will say, I've got a subscription to the magazines because I work for them. And they do mail them in secure envelopes with a little bit of cardboard and some nice, really nice, kind of a... It's not Tyvek, but it's a very tough plastic.
That's the other books you're subscribed to.
Yeah, it's that. No, I can get that stuff on the internet. Anyway,
In other words, they take into consideration you might get this book, get this magazine slab.
That's right. It could happen. It should happen. But no,
9.8 of RetroFan.
That's right. No, I want to slab number 8 because that's the one I had an article in. But anyway, but no, Carl, they deliver it. It comes in really, really good condition. Otherwise, I would think that of course, your closest Barnes and Nobles in Champaign. But yeah, I would say get a subscription. It would be worth it. And Drag Cartoon, one with a really slow plot, to Cindy Cat. Yeah, and that plot is ephemeral. Superman and Batman's ears hold up his halo. There we go. She's commenting on my comments. And Nicholas Anthony Tockert, it is good to see you, brother. The host of the brand new and definitely improved Never Mind the Furthermore, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Also, Nerd Bacon on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. with Luke Stone and other guests. And this morning looked like it got a little spicy there, so I'm going to have to check that show out after I check out Joe's, because on Friday night, the Historical Fencing Guild with Nicholas Anthony Tockert comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and 26 hours before Joe's show from Odessa Small Press Publisher on Saturday nights. And gotta bug the stupid o'clock, guys. Have a great evening. Carl, thank you for being here, my man. And we love Cookie. I do every chance I get, Nick. And those were her hands in here. And hi, Cookie, says Donna. And I popped in perfect time. That sounds like a personal problem. And Donna says, we weren't indulging you, we were indulging Cookie. Okay, that I understand. And I am totally here for a weird romance. And is this a kissing book? Actually, yes, there is plenty of smooching in it. So is Superman, Son of Kal-El, but only one page. But anyway, Love Everlasting has a lot of really nice romance in it. And Strangers in... Oh, Nick brought up a good one, Strangers in Paradise. There we go. That was a decent story, although it kind of veered between
like of life than pure romance to me.
Yeah, this is like the old Simon Kirby Love comics or the John Romita stuff in the 50s and 60s. And Cindy Kemp has my motto here, hashtag bring Cookie home. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah. We got to get you home too, hon.
Well, Cookie really is home, isn't she?
Well, yeah, she is now. But anyway, also let's check Stellari. A quick game from the stars with 24 hours to go, 17 backers, and some people, she's increased her amount. It's up to $528, less than $100 to go.
Oh, nice.
Excellent. Thank you to whoever pledged for that. And if you're watching this on the rerun, please check this out. I'm hoping you can get the link here. We're going to post it right now. And
$30 investment to actually get the game itself.
Yeah, it's worth it. It comes with a whole lot of cool stuff, and if we get over that amount, we get more playing tokens. And it's real simple play. It looks like you start out with 5 chips that you just throw out on the table. Then the next person plays one face up. They turn one over, and then they play another one that's face up, and then they have to act upon it. And that leaves the game. Then they reach in and throw another chip onto the table, which lands up on either side, and they keep that going till they run out of chips. And so later, Donna, well, thank you for being here, hon, and thank you again for being at Silicon last week, you and Carl both. And Bitly Stellari, whoa, that's an old Rydell song. But anyway. Check that out. Please check that out. Cindy does, and I say this constantly, and I do mean it. Cindy does so much for this community with her promotion, and she has produced, and I think everyone here can agree, Animal Eye is a terrific comic book.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It is. It's about as good as Eric Hawkins and Joe D. McFee's stuff. It is a real treat to read, and she's going to be working up the. I think she's going to do. I think they're going to do a Kickstarter for the 3rd issue, and the second issue is what now?
Second issue.
The second issue, it's already out.
She has a Kickstarter the second issue.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought she was going to go straight to the 3rd because. Oh well. Anyway,
I know. The publisher said that they're printing the second issue, but I'm not certain if she's going to kickstart the second issue.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I thought maybe they'd go straight to the 3rd, but anyway,
but
whatever they decide.
Tell us. She's here. She can tell us.
Yeah. Spill the beans here, if you would. But anyway, while we're waiting for that reply, and no, the publisher doesn't want to kickstart the second. Okay, well, tell the publisher to get the damn thing out then. Because the second one is out in e-form. We need a physical copy now.
Yeah.
So,
loss of money.
yes.
Loss of money. The longer he or she takes to put out the physical, the more and more opportunities to make money.
Exactly. And the backers respect that, and they will stay loyal. At least most of them will. Now, now Eric found something and he is okay. This is where I thought so. And Eric, he is considering whether to kickstart the 3rd. Yeah.
He needs to think about that too, because if you go from 1 to 3, you're going to have to explain in your video why you're skipping 2.
Yeah, it would almost be.
Do 2 and 3 at the same time.
That's what I was going to say.
You won't have to do 2 or 3 at the same time, but people want to know why did you kickstart 2? Because that's some people are going to be like, we only buy your comic this way.
Yeah.
And they're up there, it's like, well, what if you already had 2 out? Why am I waiting to 3?
Exactly.
You have to give a good explanation of why you have to wait until issue 3 to get issue number 2.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a very good point. But was it Eric had told us this week that who is it? GoFundMe, or not GoFundMe, but Indiegogo is now paying attention to people who have not fulfilled their pledges yet.
Yeah, they did suspend one campaign that was like I think it was 3 years late. But there's others out there that are just as late, but they did go out and suspend it. But because a lot of these guys are real late, leave them in demand, so people could keep coming back. And so, but they've already got the main funds anyway, so it really doesn't do anything. They suspended it so he can't get any more, but he already got the main funds anyway. So there's not really a point to it other than trying to make a statement.
Which is a good statement, and I hope some creators take the warning there.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not, no.
Yeah, that was going to lead me to my question for Cindy. It's like, are you going to use colorful adjectives in that rant?
I know Cindy, she will not use those kind of words. She is not like me.
Colorful adjectives is a wide open field.
I'm thinking of the colorful adjectives I tend to use, and we're trying to cut down on that kind of language. Anyway,
well, that's because you
me.
just have a dirty mind, Brian, and the rest of us don't.
And what's your point? Anyway, and yes, don't start me on that rant. Read the paper version of 2. Yes, I've heard that rant and is entirely justified. So, well, and that's one reason that I talk so much about self-publishing. It's okay to be published by somebody else, but if you want total control over the product, you need to have your hand on the rudder. So, but Cindy's moving in that direction, so that's good. That's a good thing. So, anyway, without revealing more about Cindy's publishing plans, so anyway, do we want to talk about that thing we talked about a couple of days ago in private with the AI, or am I opening a can of beans?
Well,
It's not opening up a can of beans. Like I said, I have my thoughts about it, especially after hearing other people talk about it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, let me find that from our talk. But while I'm looking for that, let me. There we are. Let me.
I went out and used one of them and was playing around with it. It was fun.
Yeah, but it's not going to replace what you do.
No, I won't deny it. I was looking at for background to see what I could do.
And that I can see. And we will share the page here. Just a second here. Oh, this is so slick, Brian.
As I draw St. Louis Union Station yet again.
Yeah. There we go. Share screen. Ooh, they added more. Okay, here we go. And window, not that one. And there's that one. And share. And go back to the page where we're on. And here we go. Add to the stream. There we go. Artificial intelligence art, world's first bot-generated graphic novel hits the market. And it was done in, what, 6 days, I think it was?
Yeah, but someone had already released one in July, so it's not even the first one.
So they lied. Yeah, this is from beandcrypto.com, an article by Nicole Buckler, and I'm reading from this because that's a tiny little screen. Anyway, it is based on the novel Star Maker by Olaf Stapledon, which was published in 1937. Now, we all agreed in our chat that they say in the article that it was in the public domain. In many countries across the world, yes, it may be in the public domain, but not in America and nor in the Great Britain. So that's inaccurate. But anyway, let me get down to the artwork.
The art looks nice. I mean, I won't deny it.
It's not bad.
It's very pretty. It is what it is.
Yeah. But we did have some issues, like with the lettering here. We'll accept your cookies.
Now, my issue with the lettering is there's no space, at the edges of the balloons.
Yeah.
Them being transparent a little bit, I get that they want to show more of the art behind it. That's okay, but it should be a little not as transparent, or maybe just maybe like a yellowish tan would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely more. I mean, it's too tight. This guy had never done comics before.
Oh, easily. And also, my objection is it is all one. There's no bold. There's no,
This is not coming off as a comic at all. This is an illustrated story.
Yeah.
Big
exactly.
difference. Big difference.
Yeah. And it is nice, and but I don't think it's going to put any regular artists out of work.
Well, I've seen a lot of people show faces and stuff that have been generated, and it does seem to have some trouble with a lot of faces.
Yeah, and
you see a lot of silhouettes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also I see other AI generated photographs and artwork. John Oliver on Last Week Tonight about 2 weeks ago had, and it was a follow up on that story about the guy that sold the painting. Or he won a contest. He got second place, and people were jumping on him because it was AI generated with some additions from the artist. Some photoshopping done. Pardon me, but I don't think anybody's going to lose any work here in the comics industry. Although I was telling these guys, John Byrne has been working on a lot of using computers back when he was doing regular comic books.
Right.
And he did almost all of his lettering with. He was one of the first to do all digital lettering, and he did some computer generated backgrounds mostly for his covers. But for the most part, he put together several Star Trek comics, using the original images from the shows and manipulating them into brand new storylines. But I'd love to see somebody like John Byrne get it and input, say, his costume characters and see what he could do with that. I think that would be great if he could tie an AI to that. Because he can write. He really can write.
Well, that's where the controversy comes in.
Yeah.
It's like we're not the first show that talked about this. We're
just the best.
We're about the 5th or 6th one. But the thing about it is, it's like you got one camp feeling that this type of tool demeans what we do as creators by giving the illusion that anybody and everybody can do this. But like I stated before, when I'm looking at this, I don't see this as a comic. This is an illustrated story. It is not coming off as a comic at all.
I agree.
It's not coming off as a comic at all. So it's a completely different aspect on how you view it.
Mm-hmm.
However, as the person who does 3D rendering myself,
right,
if you look at it as a tool is only as good as the person that's using it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, if you get a person who is very savvy and they use one of these AI applications, does that then put them in the same realm as some of the great artists that have come before him?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say somebody like him using this AI programming and having the savvy enough, we put him in the same category as like a John Byrne or Kirby or Ditko, or you know, on that level, Buscema? Do you put them on that level, or is it, that's where you're going to come back to? Is it really the person who's doing it, or is it the tool that he's using?
I would say that it is not on the classic artist level, because they put an energy into the art by choosing poses, by drawing the dynamic poses and the dynamic layouts, whereas the stuff we saw just now, it's kind of flat by comparison. It does not have any real action to it, no real energy involved in the drawings. It's very beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the old covers of like magazines like Analog or Amazing or Fantastic, the little digest size magazines. It reminds me a lot of those covers, like Ed Emshwiller and stuff like that. But I don't get the dynamic feel from them, the energy that where I've seen paintings from people like Dan Atkins, Jim Steranko, George Rosen, even back in the pulp days, Norman Saunders. A lot of those fine artists, they had a dynamic quality to their art, a sense of movement, whereas at least the images we saw in the article are flat, they're lifeless, they're more architecture to me than actually showing us real characters. There was one towards the end of the page that, yes, it showed alien characters, and that was pretty cool, but there I want to know, did the writer describe them to the AI, and then that's what the AI spit out?
You put in the one I use. You put in prompts, but you can also upload an image and have the AI use the prompts and the image to create a new image. Here, I'm going to share my screen, Brian, and this is the one that actually came out in July, and it's available on Amazon.
All right, yeah, please do.
Now, unfortunately, it's on Bleeding Cool, so there's going to be a lot of ads.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me when you're. Oh, I'll see when you're.
Okay, we got it.
So this is Lung Flower.
I like the name.
Let's see. Now this one does have some panels, but most of them are going to be the full page.
Again, this comes off as an illustrated story. This is not a comic. It's an illustrated story, and it comes off like an illustrated story that could actually be put on something like Webtoons.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm also seeing no word balloons. It's
no,
all
there's no word balloons.
There's
plenty of captions.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's Putin without any arms or what that is there.
What in the hell?
But I think this one has better art.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I would agree.
But there's like Joe said, this is an illustrated book. It's not a comic book. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree. They're
both pretty. They're both pretty, and I have no problem with tools that make your life easier. I mean, I draw digitally most of the time. I mean, I still draw traditionally. I do that quite a bit. But I letter, I color, I pencil most of the time digitally. So anything that makes it easier and quicker, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
I I'd like to see it get a little more sophisticated and use more of the audio-visual, if you will, language of comics. Sound effects. Don't put it in just the captions. And let's have some more dynamic layouts, if at all possible. Come closer to being able to emulate what comics do, rather than a series of snapshots with some static word boxes.
Well, heck, any writer should be able to do anything with it then, because they're putting in what they want to be, the
But
computer to generate.
That's the point that I'm making. And now you guys are going to make me open up Photoshop, because, like I said, as a person who does some of this stuff in DAW's Studio, I'm looking at this. It's like, yeah, this is a shortcut, but this is a shortcut that most people who don't have a background in this was going to gravitate towards and think that they're going to have a leg up on people who have been doing this for years. And it's like, it's not going to be the same, because, like I said, everything I'm seeing right now comes off as a illustrated story as opposed to a comic.
Right.
And now I'm going out here. I shouldn't be doing this, because it's almost like I'm showing how a lot of the sausage is made through different programs. Like, for example, AI can help. It can be a great tool in the hands of people who know what they're doing. But when it's marketed as such, where it's getting to the point where people are up here, taking it for like, this is how it's going to be, this is how it should look, this is equivalent to what is already been established, and it comes nowhere close, because you haven't had a true comic book person look at it, or you haven't had a true writer, a comic book writer, a true artist use this to develop a page using it.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Joe, if you can't call that up, that's fine. But it's a good point.
I'm here with it. I just haven't pulled up the pages, because I already got the Photoshop up. And
okay. Well, while you're doing that,
I just open up 3 pages here. I'm not going to show like the action scenes and stuff like that.
Just one page will probably illustrate your point. But no, the thing is, it's like, having worked with DAWs with my limited ability and limited time, it doesn't save time for somebody like me. It would be simpler to pick up a pencil and to draw it by hand, or a stylus, and do it in Photoshop. And as soon as that image loads in my screen, okay, there we go. We're going to share that now.
Yeah, like this, there
we go.
Now, this, for example, let me go ahead and blow this up a bit.
There you go.
You can see that it's laid out on a page. Everything is done in panels. It is not as static as those other painted, more fine art drawings are. Right. Now, these are not standard poses either. I can use the standard poses, but I embellish on them more so than anything else. And that's the reason why I wasn't going to get into like a lot of the actuals. Like, for example, each one of these panels is one rendered image in 3D space. So this is not layered upon layer upon layer. It's like I actually have multiple items in a 3D space area, and I'm focusing in on camera angles and everything to that magnitude, and then having the program render it in almost a photo-like quality. And this is before I actually put in the lettering and everything and to format the pages in like a Photoshop or Illustrator.
Right.
And if you even notice, one of the things that I didn't see what was going on with the AI, the process that I used, you can even see like the overhead, because that's the overhead lighting in the arena being reflected off of the desk. You won't be able to get some of that within AI unless you actually specify how everything looks like, especially from the images that was shown here. You're
Right.
not going to be able to get the finer details that makes a comic a comic, or a graphic novel
Right.
or a pinup in that aspect. If I could say it in those terms, it makes for a great image to put out there for an illustrative story, but it's not coming to the level of something like that until you get a person like of my ilk or somebody that does this type of stuff to sit there with the AI program and really, really work it to its maximum capacity. And then you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is really great. It's like, it's really great once you learn it, and it might save some people some time. But in the long run, I can see why people are leery of it. I don't like the aspect of people calling it cheating and not art and all this other stuff, because that belittles stuff like this that I'm doing here. Because I still do traditional drawing and I also do this.
Right. Right.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you both. It is a tool. I think at this point the AI for art is very underdeveloped for what comic artists would need it for, or at least as we understand, graphic novels to be.
Show my screen real quick.
All right, going.
So this is Mid Journey, one of the more popular ones.
Yeah.
Now these are all AI generated, and these are AI generated. But hold on here. These are AI generated.
Yeah, but all of that comes off as fine art.
Oh yeah. I'm getting right down to the comics here. Now this one, just like the other guys, it's just it's not a comic book. I mean, it's a bunch of image, but this is all AI generated.
Now go back up a little bit. Keep going. Where the comic here, where you're at the comic. Now, the first thing that I noticed with all of this here is that it's not a comic; it's a narrated story.
Yeah, this one definitely, yeah.
I have not seen one speech bubble.
No,
not one thought bubble. We finally saw sound effects, but we haven't seen anything that doesn't seem like what Brian was saying. Everything seems robotic and stiff, as if you're getting the story from a third person. You don't get anything that's firsthand from any of the characters.
This one's the same way.
Yeah.
You're not seeing any speech bubbles.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, another thing, you look at the art; it's not consistent with itself. I mean, these faces don't match any of these faces. I mean, it looks like different artists did it. If you thought, traditional, I mean, this is a totally different style on this page here.
Kind of reminds me of like some of the manga where it goes from like ultra realistic, like a Crying Freeman, to like chibi style, and then up to something very cartoony.
Now there was one down here. A lot of cats on here.
What is wrong with you people?
Now this one, this one looks a little better and looks more like a comic book.
Yes, it does.
Let's see if
it's
I can.
Still not a. It's still narrated.
Here we go.
Okay.
There we go. Finally got some speech balloons.
Finally.
Yelling. They're yelling at us. Now, my question is, was that added on? How is this laid out? Was it added on by the AI, or was this added on by whoever wrote it?
I'm going to say this was done post after they created the AI images, because you can only create one image at a time in a specific size, and then you can enhance it and enhance it. You can enhance it as many times as you want.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was only, 2 pages there had word balloons?
Yeah.
The rest were all narration.
Yeah.
I mean, people are playing with it. People are trying to make a go at it, and it makes some beautiful stuff. And
now that background, the background with the beds and stuff, that's pretty.
That's gorgeous.
That's actually pretty and gorgeous.
Now here, these are more comic book looking.
But
Yeah.
these will be what I would consider pin up and cover type
Right,
images,
right.
and not
Whoa,
something
that's
that would
creepy.
be interiors.
Yeah.
Even this year, those will be like cover like images.
Yeah, that's maybe where your variant covers in the next couple of years are coming from.
This guy ordered some of his stuff online. Showing us what he ordered. Okay. Oh, that's so cute. Look at that, so
Puppy.
cute.
The puppies, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, you guys go out to Mid-Journey on their Discord, and you can look at all this stuff, and you can play with it for free for a little while. You have so many free ones you can do, and then they start charging you. Or
See,
want you
like
to.
those faces there. No, go back up. Those faces there, I could generate in DOS Studio. So that makes me wonder. It's like, why would I start using that when I'm already using a program that could go that level already?
Yeah.
I can see if you are describing to the AI exactly what you want to see and you have the language to do it. I can see where that would be easier for a lot of people rather than learning something like DAWs.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a learning curve with DAWs.
I scroll through these and look at them for days. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Thank
for
you,
me, for someone, I can draw backgrounds. I don't like to take the time to draw them all the time. I don't like getting, putting out perspective grids and all that stuff sometimes. But if I could match my style that would match my artwork through an AI generated background, I would use it. I mean, if it would look right, I would use it definitely. Mm-hmm. No, I won't lie. I would cheat.
Yeah, and I can see, like, if you had, like, a TV show, if you had a standard set. Like, let's say you're drawing Batman. So you create a 3D stage, if you will, for, say, Commissioner Gordon's office. Most of the rooms of the Wayne Manor. The Batcave.
Oh, you should see how they're doing The Mandalorian, then.
Really?
It's all rendered. They have this state-of-the-art studio and lighting changes on it. It's crazy.
Oh, I bet. But yeah, like you said, it's a tool, but once you establish those settings, then you'd have, of course, you'd have to create new ones every now and then for whatever the writer comes up with. But having those stock ones, once you put them together, you're done, and you don't have to worry about, and any changes you can make, you could do in the computer, but they would probably be minor from that point on. So it's a tool, but it's still in its infancy, and I don't think we have either. From the examples I've seen tonight, I don't think we've begun to even touch the tip of the iceberg here. I think it's got a long way to go, but it might be good for someone like me that maybe Eric is unavailable for once and can't draw my story, so I turn to an AI to do it. But I'm not going to put out something that looks like crap.
That's one of the prompts you can use. I mean, ultra realistic or comic book style. I mean, everything you can think of, you could type in there as a prompt, and you can type in as many prompts as you want, and it'll generate stuff. The stuff I was playing with is okay. I mean, nothing I would use, but it looked cool.
Yeah.
But then I ran out my free free clicks. Well, I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, I can see me trying to go in there, and I like to mess with the system. I was at a convention back in '77 or '75 with Al Milgram, where he was talking about some of the stupidest art directions he ever got in scripts, and one that stuck with me to this day was two men are standing side by side, facing forward, staring into each other's eyes. Mm-hmm. And I would love to see what a computer does with that. Aside from kick me out and cancel my library card.
Might be creepy. But even
that's just
Studio has those models you can bring
side by side.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're looking at one another's eyes, so it's like, that neck turn by itself is hard. So I don't think he's meaning like that. It's like side by side like this, if they're staring at one another.
No, they're like this. They're like this, looking straight ahead, staring into each other's eyes.
Right.
Unless there's a mirror there or something, but
that's it. There's a mirror. Yeah. It's a riddle.
That's right.
But you would have to say staring into it's like facing a mirror. They're doing that.
But
have
he
to make it
did not
enduring.
say that. So
It's and the key thing is they're staring out to the reader, but looking at one another.
yeah. So
That's
So
why I
they're
say
looking at you people.
It's like, how can you do that? Because a net can't do like a true 90 degrees.
yeah.
So how are they doing a true 90 degrees if they
One is
looking at
Plastic Man and one is Mr. Fantastic.
There we go. We problem solved.
Yeah.
Ah. Well,
But
you know,
then
we've
again,
been,
can Mr. Fantastic actually take his eyes and wrap it around that way? I know Plastic Man can.
I
never
think
seen
I remember an old
never seen
issue of FF where
Reed
Reed did that.
I don't remember Reed actually taking like his, like any part of like his, his face and like stretching it in such a way where only you see that particular item go that way.
I want to say it did happen one day. I don't remember what book it was in. I don't think it was FF.
It's
I think it was like a guest star.
that he broke his arm.
Yeah, there we go.
Issue.
That's
That,
right.
that surprised me. It's like your elastic. It's like either it's going to break or it's going to break like completely, like separated. It's like you won't be able to stretch. But he was in a sling, and the way that it was explained, it's like, wait, muscle tension broke his arm. I'm like, that's interesting. That's scientific and interesting.
It's comic book physics,
Mhm.
which means it doesn't exist. Anyway,
No. Actually, it does fit to Grey's Anatomy as far as physiology. That is possible.
There you go.
That's kind of impossible based upon when you think about when he does use his powers.
Right.
It doesn't register that way.
I can see that. So, anyway, we've been on for 2.5 hours.
Yep, time to go.
And they were worried that we wouldn't be able to generate any content here. Ha ha ha. Anyway, so I think it's time we take off because Eric has got someplace to go tonight.
Mhm.
And Eric, why don't you tell us about the show you're going to be on later tonight and how people can keep up with you?
Well, later tonight I'm going to be on Chester C. Busby III's channel. He's back in town. He's not on his yacht and he's not in Paris. So, and we are doing.
You said it earlier. Somebody
Kickstarter it should be right on my Twitter here. Mighty Mascots by Alterna Comics. They are currently crowdfunding issues 7 and 8, I believe, on Indiegogo.
Nice.
And it looks to be, mascots that wrestle. That seems to be what it looks like. I don't know if that's what it is, but that seems to be what it looks like. So it could be fun. I'll probably draw a Captain Crunch-like character. But we're on there every week. Thursday nights. Sometimes
Brutus versus Jack in the Box.
Ooh, might do that now. It'd be easier to draw. Just a circle. Thanks, Joe.
Hey, you said mascots. I was thinking about easy mascots to draw. It's like Brutus from Ohio State versus Jack in the Box for the Jack in the Box hamburger place.
There you go. I was thinking Pro D2 from the Legion of Superheroes.
I'm from Michigan. I can't draw anything from Ohio State. It's strictly forbidden. But yeah, I'm there every Thursday night after this show. We start up at 9 p.m. Central and runs to about midnight, to be honest with you, after the 2 hours and the voting and all that stuff. Which the voting doesn't count for anything. We don't go to any other show. Mike Miller's kind of abandoned his show for crypto stuff. So we just have fun. But before that, every Thursday night, you can find me here reviewing comics. Comics that... Yeah, I didn't like that one so much. This one... what I didn't like about it is the story didn't really capture me, but when I looked at the last few pages, like, maybe I'll go back and read the whole thing, because the first few pages didn't do it for me. But this one, love it, the Vineyard. Go to the Vineyard.
I frequently do.
Yeah. But yeah, any social media, just look me up. I'm still revamping my Patreon, which will, does include a Discord. There's no users out there yet, but there's going to be interaction through the Discord, which will be live streams through the Discord. I'll offer the viewers of or the patrons, stuff like that. But I think I'm going to do an official launch next month on it. Relaunch.
Excellent.
Yep.
Good deal.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. And now Joe D. McFee.
Yeah, I'm not cool enough to do Patreon as of yet. I've been asking about that. What you guys might would like for me to do? Got no response back. So I just go and throw it to the wayside again and be like, probably not worth the time. But you can always reach me at that link that's right there. That Linktree link that has everything except for my gaming channel, which I might put out there soon here, depending on whether or not I get asked to do this beta later on in October. If I get a chance to put to be a part of this one beta testing group here. If I do, then yeah, I'm going to be forced to stream a lot of this one game. So I might go ahead and put that out there. But outside of that, I'm currently working on a role playing game. I still got to finish up what I was showing you guys with Primetime Saturday Night. I had to do issue number 4, issue number 8 of Amazonia, and eventually maybe another article for Comics Unlimited and some other nice little stuff down the line. So I got a lot of work to do. I just don't have time to do it with having a 9 to 5.
Oh, well. Well, let's see. Okay. So anyway, thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. And
right.
Joe, let's talk sometime about your Patreon thing, because I'm not cool at all, but I have one.
Well, you do a lot more stuff with your Patreon. Your followers know exactly what to expect. I'm going from having 0 people.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they want me to do specific for that monthly stipend. So I put the fillers out there, and nobody has replied back to give me any idea of what they might want to see. So,
well, now you're going to the experts. So, anyway, thank you, Joe.
All right,
we'll pull you out of this. But anyway, and like Eric said, didn't get him, but it got me. Love Everlasting. Pick that up. I insist. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris. Everything you want to know about me is at risingtide.pub. Connects you with my Patreon page. Connects you with where I do a twice weekly blog called Every Blog Has a Name. And this week, we meant to publicize this. I dropped the third chapter of Volcana 2, the Prometheus frame-up. And we're currently working on the 4th chapter. Also doing some editing for a number of publishers. Getting ready to do some more writing for people. But anyway, also we do this every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. We hope you'll join us every week for more and more stuff. And Cindy Cap says, "Go Joe! Go Eric!" And now she wants me out of here. She's saying, "Go Brian, go!" Well, we're going as fast as we can, Cindy. CKOEPP.com. Check it out. And also definitely check the links where we've shown you how to get to Stellari, Cindy Kep's brand new game. It looks beautiful. It looks like a lot of fun. And she is less than $100 away from her goal. In fact, I'm going to refresh the page real fast to see.
Still at 528.
We're still at 528. Okay, we need another $97, and we've got 24 hours to go. Please check that out. I want to get this game, so please make my dream come true. Anyway, we've got all kinds of really cool stuff coming up, and we got a message here in the private chat. Okay, thank you, Eric. And let's see what else we got here. And also we want to thank not just our sponsors, but we want to thank our Patreon people. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly, and for $1 a month, that's pretty cheap to get at least two blogs a week from me. And if you go with the $5 level or more, you not only get the blogs, but you get to read past chapters of first draft chapters of the Terrors coming out later this year. And right now we're doing Volcana 2, the sequel to my 2015 book that I'm really excited about. It's coming together. It's good stuff. And also we want to thank, let's see, we've got a comment here. And thanks for hosting Adventure, Cindy. Thank you for being here. CKOEPP.com. Check out what this fine lady is doing, and please sign up for her newsletter every month because it is a great read. And also we want to thank our sponsors, namely Rising Tide Publications with the Terrors coming out later this year. I think you're going to dig it. I'm very proud of that book. And also Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasma Fire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
A lot of us that do just words shouldn't be trusted with graphics. Leave it to the pros, and that's Jeffrey Hayes. So when you need a great wraparound cover for your novel or a great front cover for a comic book, for instance, photorealistic, any style you want, and if you want the graphics to help sell it on social media, to say nothing of a great book trailer like you just saw, then you contact Jeffrey Hayes at PlasmaFireGraphics.com. First, check out the Facebook page for Plasma Fire Graphics, then go to PlasmaFireGraphics.com and inquire about their independent, creator-friendly pricing. You're going to be amazed. I know I was when I first asked, and Jeff and I are doing a lot of good stuff together, and you'll want him on your team also. As Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it definitely matters to your readers. And also this weekend, Saturday afternoon from 10 to 5, or actually starting at 10 a.m. in the morning till 5 p.m. that evening, I will be at the Autumn Blaze Art Festival at the Waverly United Methodist Church at 115 West Main Street in Waverly, Tennessee. I'm going to be appearing through the great graces of Rick Welchins. It'll be great to see him again. And also I will be paired up with Andy Shaggy Cordy, who has done some great things like The Manor. He is an editor for Freestyle Comics, Michael Watson's outfit, and he does a lot of great stuff on his own. He and I did a comic book together for Free Comics Day, Empire Comics Lab. He does it all. And Andy and I will be talking to you, the public, about how to start your own publishing business, how to get hooked up with somebody that's already got theirs. So bring your questions, plus we're going to have our work to sell to you. So please come see me, and I'll have all my new books, including copies of the Zombieful World of Oz in the hardcover and paperback trade editions, as well as the fourth issue, the great fourth issue on that. Not to mention my own stuff and the award-winning Snow Shorts and Major Marjorie. We've got that book. All kinds of great stuff. So please come see us in Waverly, Tennessee this coming Saturday. Now, it's a 2-day festival, but Andy and I will only be there Saturday. So please come see us. We would love to have you check us out, all right? And to join us at 1 p.m. for a Q&A from both of us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, folks, thank you all for being here. We will be back next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Central, with more comic book reviews, more conversation, and your comments as well. And again, folks, if you've enjoyed this, any part of this show, or plan to in the future, please, if you're on Facebook, hit that like button. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up if you would. Or even if you feel like it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. We're good with it. Our egos are secure. But anyway, if you're on, especially on YouTube, please subscribe to this channel. We are still growing, and we've got all kinds of great plans for some really cool shows coming up. If you want to learn more about how to level up your craft in the creative fields, those will be starting real soon. So everyone, please take care. We'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great weekend and a great week to come. We'll see you next Thursday on Comic Book Spectrum.